Hello everyone and welcome back to the Women's Football Chat and welcome to the final day of the 2024-25 Women's Super League season. All 12 sides are in action and we are going to conclude what has been a brilliant season. And yes, we already have crowned Chelsea as our champions and already confirmed Crystal Palace as the side getting relegated. But we've still got to decide our runners-up for this year. It is a straight fight between Arsenal and Manchester United. They've got 90 minutes to take that second place spot, which, as we spoke about in our video yesterday, does have some importance not only for the Pride, but for prize money and for Champions League qualification. So still a lot on the line today for certain clubs. The midfield fight will be sorted out today as they all face each other, and after the conclusion of all the games we will switch over and watch Chelsea lift the trophy and be crowned champions for the 6th year in a row. These two sides will be hoping to do something about that next season, but they've got to focus on this last 90 minutes now and look to finish runners up, because I do think that there is a difference finishing second and third, but from a Pride point of view, you'd rather be the runners up than and finishing third. And for Arsenal, when you haven't finished runners up for since the 21-22 season, I believe, it is quite a big deal. So they'll be looking to return to that second place. And for Man United, well, they spent the majority of this season right behind Chelsea. They were the ones who early doors were pushing the Blues all the way, and yes, they fell off, fell behind them a little bit, but and then ended up falling behind Arsenal. But United will want to return back to that second place, avoid having to play extra qualifiers, earn a bit more money that hopefully they can invest, and would be a statement of intent, especially for Mark Skinner, who has said once, after the Man City game, once United had qualified for the Champions League, Skinner said they have to be ambitious, they have to spend big, and they have to invest. And a big part of getting investment is proving to the higher ups at your club that you are doing well. So finishing runners up only behind Chelsea would be a big thing for United. And yes, they did it 2 years ago, but if they can return there again, then we start to see some consistency building. But yeah, make sure to do get involved throughout today. Obviously, I will be focusing and watching Arsenal Man United, then watching the trophy lift for Chelsea. But I'll keep you updated on all 6 games that are kicking off in about 25 minutes. But you've got some brilliant games. Obviously, Chelsea are hosting Liverpool. Really interesting Chelsea setup. Looks like they've gone for a back three. We've got this brilliant clash between Arsenal and Man United. Aston Villa welcome Brighton in what will be a very interesting game between two sides who have really hit form recently, and two sides who have recently beat Arsenal in pretty convincing fashion. And I think that is the big question mark around today's game, is where are Arsenal at? What level are we going to see Arsenal play at today? Will they find an extra gear? Will they return to the quality that we saw from between January and March, where they were absolutely smashing teams and were scoring goals left, right and centre? Or will we see the Arsenal that we've seen over the last couple of games, where they've been really poor at the back? And yes, they've scored 4 goals in across the 2 games, but they've conceded 9, and that's just not good enough at this top level when you are a top side. So it is going to be interesting to see what we see from Arsenal. Can they get themselves geared up? The other thing that looms over this game for both sides is that they both have cup finals just over the horizon. Man United face Chelsea in the FA Cup final next Saturday, and the weekend after that Arsenal face Barcelona in the Champions League final. So as much as both sides will want to win this game and will want to finish second, they've got to be careful, and they don't want to be risking injuries, you don't want to be risking fatigue or any other factors that could affect those cup finals, because yes, both sides are probably not the favourites in their respective finals, but it is still a cup final. They want to go there and compete. And if Arsenal end up with an injury to someone like a Russo, or United lose Mile Tissier, then suddenly that would massively hurt their chances of going on and winning silverware. So it is a difficult time to manage those minutes, and to manage where you play your important players. Where do you favour your side? But I think that at the end of the day, it's the end of the season. You're playing against a tough opposition. Both sides have gone pretty strong. So, that makes complete sense. And I do think that for United, they will be looking to use the fact that Arsenal haven't played very well recently, use the fact that United come off this game after, yes, they drew to Man City, but the way they pulled that back will give them confidence to now go on, get the job done and finish in second place. And I think that Manchester derby, we learnt a lot in terms of where United and City are at right now. I do think that obviously the red card for Man United, for Mannion, did slightly ruin the last 20 minutes, because I do think that United would have turned that around. But overall, I think that we saw how City still have quality, but United have done what they've done all season really, and just played at a very, very good level, and they just got better and better as the game went on. And again, if they can do that in this match, then Arsenal are going to find them very, very difficult to handle. I mentioned the Man U red card. It does pose a question for United at right back. Dominic Janssen does come in to start this game on that right hand side, with Jade Riviere out injured and Mannion suspended. Skinner's opted to put Janssen there, which I think is going to be very interesting, because if you are Caitlin Ford on that left hand side, and you're running at Dominic Janssen, I think Janssen's a superb defender, but is she good at defending in those wide areas? Not as much. Has she got the pace to play at right back? Not quite. So it will very much be a situational back three for Man United in this game. They usually alternate it between, Riviere will push on and George will tuck in, or George will push on and Riviere tuck in. But in this match for United, it will be Janssen tucking in every single time, and it'll be Anna Sandberg bombing on down the left-hand side again. George also not featuring in this game, but it makes sense when Riviere and George have had injury problems this season. When Riviere came off injured against Man City, I can understand why Mark Skinner has opted not to play them and to rest them up for next Sunday. Because at the end of the day, if United rest players and they still lose this game, they get Champions League football, and it means that they'll have players who are ready and raring to go for that FA Cup final, because that's a massive chance at silverware. Next weekend for Arsenal, they've got a little bit more luxury because they've got 2 weeks until the Champions League final, but still, you want to be avoiding injuries. Phil East says, good afternoon, welcome to the stream, Phil, and welcome to anyone who is tuning in the early stages. As I said, a big stream today, concluding the WSL season, then staying on at the end for Chelsea's trophy lift. I'm not sure many Arsenal or United fans want to stay around for that, but any neutrals and any supporters of other clubs feel welcome. But I think it's been another season, just to talk on the season as a whole, because we've got a bit of time before kickoff. I think it's been a season where, yes, Chelsea have won the league. On paper, they've won the league comfortably, but I really don't think I think the table lies a little bit there. Again, if you obviously, Chelsea have kind of run out in front because Arsenal have dropped points, because United have dropped points, and it looks really convincing. But the night that Chelsea won the league was the massive one, because if Arsenal had beaten Villa and United had beaten Chelsea, the gap would have closed to 3. But instead, the results were the other way around, and Chelsea went on to win the league. And I really don't. I think if you're an Arsenal and United, from a United and Arsenal point of view, especially from a United point of view, I think they'll be frustrated they didn't give Chelsea enough of a fight. Because for Arsenal, you sacked your manager during the season. I don't think no one expected Rene Slagers to go and push Chelsea to try and win the league. But this Chelsea side, they have gone invincible, which, it is pretty incredible. They're invincible so far. Today's a big one against Liverpool, but they've gone invincible so far. And yes, I do think that they've done very, very well, and I think they've been incredible. But there's been a lot of times this season where Chelsea have grinded out results, yes, but they've also dropped points. And I think that in the games against the tougher opposition, so I think that Chelsea have done very, very well. But from an Arsenal, from a United point of view, from a City point of view as well, they'll be frustrated they didn't give Chelsea better games. I think Arsenal pushed them all the way, especially at Stamford Bridge, and they were the closest. But when United played Chelsea, they lost both games, and you can't afford to do that. One of the big sides had to take points off Chelsea, and it just didn't happen. You look to last year when it was so close. It was so close because the bigger sides took points off Chelsea. But this season they didn't do that, and that is as part of the part of it is that Chelsea have been brilliant, but the other part of it is that those sides probably should have done better. Taylor, welcome to the stream. Saying, what do other teams need to do to really beat Chelsea to the title and not just challenge? I think and David starting off with a deep squad, I think that is a really good place to start. But I think first of all, there's not a way that sides will really beat Chelsea to the title. I think if a side were to go on and win the league, it would be a massive fight. I don't see one of the big sides turning up next season and winning the league by 9 points, because I just don't think Chelsea would let that happen. But in terms of taking the fight and compete, I get what you mean, not just challenging and like being 3-4 points behind, but in terms of really taking that fight to Chelsea, like level on points with them, leading the league at times, beating them on the pitch as well as off the pitch. I think Dave Fraser makes a great point with a deep squad. One of Chelsea's massive positive factors has been the rotation, and not just the rotation in the league, but in other competitions. A big squad means that in those, if you think back to those Champions League group games, Chelsea were rotating, they were using youngsters, and they were still beating Real Madrid, still beating Celtic, still beating Twente. For Man City and for other teams, I think Arsenal rotated a bit better, but especially for Man City, you think back to their group games, and Khadija Shaw and Lauren Hemp were playing against Polton, they were playing against Hammarby. And that is why I think a deep squad is probably one of the main reasons why Chelsea are winning title after title at the moment. Is because in those cup games, in those midweek fixtures, Chelsea are rotating, whereas other sides aren't. City had to play. They didn't have to actually. Yeah, they did decide. Gareth Taylor decided when they went to St Polton that he would play Khadija Shaw, he'd play Lauren Hemp, he'd play Yui Hasegawa. Didn't need to do that, and then Shaw and Hemp end up both getting injured. So I do think a deep squad is because if City if City had kept Shaw and Hemp fit, they'd have had a much better season, and all the other players they've got injured, really, Alex Greenwood, the like. Phil says they need to go ape in the market and pray for a Chelsea disaster. I think that one kind of links to the deep squad. In order to get a deep squad, sides will have to go out and spend in the market, go out and be bold, make some big moves, and bring in quite a few players to really strengthen their numbers. I think that, and as Phil says there, pray for Chelsea disaster. I agree. As we've seen this season, if Chelsea are on it, there's not really much any other side can do. What can you do when a side goes invincible? It's very difficult to stop that or to compete with that. So I do agree to an extent that in order for one side to win the league, it would need Chelsea to drop off, and it would need the other side to up the standard. But that's not impossible. Football is football at the end of the day, and I mean that makes no sense. But anything can happen. It's a strange sport sometimes, and we see some brilliant comebacks, and we see some brilliant and bizarre seasons that are unpredictable. So it's not uncommon for a top side to potentially have a slight drop off next season. Yes, Chelsea have gone out and signed Germa, and they're interested in some of the best players in the world, but you can hope, can't you, that something happens. David says no way you can fight in multiple competitions without one, and you can't attract the top players without being in multiple competitions. That is true. I think that it is a difficult scenario because, again, if you, as you say, you want to prioritise the WSL. If you want to go and win the league, you have to focus on that competition and put the other ones away. But by that means then you're playing less games, which means then you can't rotate, and then you end up, if you bring in all these top players but you don't use them all, then they're not going to want to stay. But I also agree that if you're not winning that league, because if you're a top player and you want to join the WSL right now, you're going to join Chelsea over everyone else, and that is the problem that the other sides are facing, which is why I do think Arsenal could be, if they win the Champions League, that's a massive factor, because that's the one thing Chelsea aren't doing. So if you were a player who wanted to come into England but also compete in Europe, would you favour Arsenal over Chelsea? Potentially so. That's why I think that Arsenal getting to the Champions League final will massively help them in the window if they get it right. More music. One of the streams says, "Hi there. It's simple. The owners/board have to show ambition and invest." Yeah. I completely agree. You see it all the time. Yes, Chelsea are going out and making moves, but that's because Todd Bowley's putting the money in. He gave he gave the money to go get Naomi Girma for £1 million. He is putting money into the women's side, and they are reaping the rewards. You're seeing the same with London City Lionesses. Michelle Kang is putting in the money, and they have got promoted, and they're going to be in the WSL next season. So yeah, I completely agree. If you put the money in and you have the ambition, sides will get there. But there's no other owner at the moment in the WSL who wants to throw £1 million into a women's transfer, and it's a shame really. But Chelsea are the ones doing it, so credit to them, and it's reaping the rewards. Phil says United just don't have the squad depth, and Arsenal is the remnants of 3 different teams right now. Yeah, I think that, again, I completely agree with that. United do. We saw it at the weekend. We've met, no offense, I don't want to keep dragging Mannion through the mud, but that is a simple example of United not having quality squad depth. Because Riviere gets injured, you bring on Mannion, who was at fault for one of the goals, and gets sent off. And suddenly, you've gone from being in competitive in Manchester Derby, and they found themselves, drawing the game and being 2-0 down at one point. So I do agree, United do need to improve their quality of depth. I like Rachel Williams. I think she's is a loyal and experienced striker, but is she quality depth at the moment? I don't know. When you look at Chelsea, who are going to have Kerr, Ramirez, Beaver Jones, you look at Arsenal, who've got Blackstenius and Rousseau and Aguimang potentially coming back on loan, and then I look to United and they've got Turlin, they've got Mallard, yes, but Mallard covers more than one position, so if Mallard's having to play on the right, you want to bring Turland off, you're putting Rachel Williams on there, and is she up to the top standard that is winning trophies at the moment? I'm not too sure. And yeah, Arsenal, I think, do need... Arsenal have already announced, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Amanda Eilestead, who's definitely gone. Taya Goldie and Lena Hurtig, I think, are the 3 that Arsenal have announced will leave at the end of their deal. Chelsea have announced that Sophie Ingle and Sakira Musovic will also depart at the end of their contracts. We've seen a lot of sides announce it as well. Villa have released a couple as well at the end of the season. But yeah, lots of sides. It's what you expect. It's what happened. We're seeing kind of the older, experienced players, the mercenaries, as you refer to them, who are now getting towards the end of their careers and getting towards the end of the contracts at the top level. Bernie went to the stream, says, hope you're doing well. I'm doing well. How are you? And how is everyone tuning in? Yi Chen asking, why do so many games kick this week start at the same time? All 6 fixtures are at the same time. It is because that's what happens on the final day. It's because it prevents match fixing, is the main one. Because if there was a title fight and they kicked off at different times, then it could potentially be rigged, or it can be edited, and they play them all at the same time. Avoid that, because if say Crystal Palace needed points to get up, and they were playing Leicester, and Villa could lose. If Villa lost first, Leicester could let Palace win, and they could stay up. So yeah, they play them all at the same time just to stop teams fiddling it around or prevent any controversy developing. More music says playing for a team's downfall is not going to cut it. Yeah, that is true, and I do agree. But I think in terms, we're just talking about in the grand scheme of things from a fan's point of view. Obviously, from an owner's point of view, you're spot on. They need to invest. They need to improve their side. But from a fan's point of view, from a pundit's point of view, I think we can argue that it probably would need a bit of both. I think if we're being realistic, it would take Chelsea's level to drop a couple pegs in order for sides to really think about winning the league in good fashion. Bernie says, I can see a 25-26 drop-off for us. I can't. But is Bernie referencing Arsenal or Man United there? I'm not too sure, Bernie. Davis says Sonia has already hinted she hasn't filled out her squad, so I agree with Phil. Yeah, spot on. Chelsea, I think, could go big this window. I think that the fans, and Sonia especially, was disgusted, to be honest, in the way that Chelsea played in the Champions League. I think that you could tell that she was really hurt. The way they got played off the park by Barcelona, I think Chelsea will invest big this summer. I think they'll go for it. I think they'll go for the Champions League. And as you guys are saying, all of you saying, it's one of those where if Chelsea do spend big, then how on earth are the other side's going to catch up? Because again, it would take a monumental effort. It would take a massive amount of money, which no other owner is going to put in right now. As Phil says, Chelsea need to spend huge in order to legitimise the value they place when selling the women's team. Yeah, I agree. I think Chelsea will make some huge moves this summer. And it could, as much as it will help Chelsea in the European game, and we could see some top world-class players come to the WSL, it could potentially, if the other sides don't invest as well, it could see Chelsea start to run away with it, which is something that we don't want to see. We want to, even from a Chelsea point of view, I want to see a title fight. I want to see it's more rewarding when your team has to compete for the league and has to play well and has to push all the way. Bernie saying Chelsea. Oh yeah, I think I don't know. I think I disagree with that. I think Chelsea will go for it. I think Chelsea will only get better. I think once we've seen Chelsea try and play a different way at the end of this season and with the single pivot since Kira Walsh came in, and it hasn't worked. But if Chelsea get it right, that could be pretty big. I mean, today, by the way, for anyone that hasn't seen it, Chelsea have gone for a back three, and then they're playing wing backs, which is interesting to see. I think that clearly Chelsea are looking to protect that unbeaten streak. They know that the threat that Liverpool pose in attacking areas, and they want that invincible trophy. So Chelsea potentially going a little bit more defensive today. But yeah, and Bernie also saying that I think Chelsea will go big. We have got, this is a lovely conversation. I'll tell you what, we'll carry it on throughout the stream and when we're watching the trophy lift at the end. But we have got 10 minutes until Arsenal Man United gets underway. So with that, let's get into the lineups and let's have a look at the two sides that are facing off against each other to finish runners-up, to finish second in the league and take home a little bit more prize money and a little bit more pride. Let's start then with the Arsenal side, the home side, and it is as follows. 4-2-3-1 with Zinsberger in net. It's the same back four we've got used to seeing under Slagers of Fox, Williamson, Catley and McCabe. In the pivot, it remains to be Kim Little and Mariona Caldente. On the left-hand side, it is Caitlin Ford. On the right-hand side, it is Chloe Kelly. And in attacking midfield, it is Frida Marnham. And then leading the line is Alessia Russo. Now, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I am frustrated with Slagers. I have no idea how Renee Slagers has seen the last couple of performances and named Bar Kelly has named an identical 11 to the Brighton game. But I want to see how Arsenal fans feel about that, because how can you look at that performance against Brighton and your only change is taking Beth Mead out and putting Chloe Kelly in? For me, that is criminal. We said in the video they have to change the pivot. The pivot of Little and Caldente does not work. It's not secure enough, and they don't have someone in there who can just give them a little bit of control. That, for me, is bizarre. I think Slagers has got a massive oversight, and they could be in big trouble once again today, because how can you lose 5-2 to Aston Villa, 4-2 to Brighton, and then name the pretty much the same 11 from the Brighton game against Manchester United? I think Arsenal could be in big trouble today, because if we don't see a marked team, I know it's a massive crowd at the Emirates and it is their strongest side, but it's about intent. It's about, from the manager, you've got to give that message that the performance wasn't good enough. So to only see one change, I think that's really bizarre. Ryan Chung says, classic high full stop. Bernie says, when is the UWSL final? It is 2 weeks on Saturday. 2 weeks today, sorry. Today is Saturday. 2 weeks today, 24th of May. Dave Fraser says, do you think Arsenal is going to go all out for second or put Maxence out in the league? Well, the fact they put their strongest 11 out would say that they're giving it all for second. But I think that I think it could be the wrong decision. I don't get how you can reward the same players with a start after such a poor performance last Monday. I think that's a really silly decision, and it could catch them out. And as Bernie says, Caldente in the pivot, it just doesn't work. Yeah, I agree. That pivot does not work. It is too attacking. And I think, yes, Caldente has looked brilliant in the pivot against the weaker sides in the league, and she's created from deep, and it works against weaker opposition. But when you are playing against stronger opposition or opposition that are equal to you, it catches them out, because Caldente isn't a defensive midfield. You lack security, you don't have control, and they get caught out too often, Arsenal. So I think this could potentially be a big problem for Arsenal today. Let's get into the away side then, and then I'll continue reading through the chat. It is also the 4-2-3-1 we've become associated with Manchester United this season. Fallon Tullis-Joyce remains in net. It is in a back four of Sandberg, Turner, Letitia and Janssen. Will be interesting to see what way round Janssen and Letitia are. I think that Janssen will probably start right back, but we could see Letitia do that job. I think Letitia would be better, but I think Skinner would rather put Janssen there, but we'll wait and see. In the pivot, it is then Clinton and Hinata Miyazawa. On the left-hand side, Leia Goughton. On the right-hand side, Selin Bizet. In the 10 is Ella Toon. And leading the line is Melvin Mallard. Came on and made the difference in the Manchester derby last week. And given a starting opportunity today is Melvin Mallard. And I think that's very interesting to see from Mark Skinner, looking to go direct against Arsenal, looking to get Mallard in behind and cause problems. We've seen how Arsenal defensively have been all over the shop. They've lacked organisation. So if Mallard can time that run, then I think she can cause a lot of problems for Arsenal down the middle there. And a player that has looked really sharp when she's played for Man United this season, and again will look to have another impact. Sir Cornelius Peregrine, one of the things, says we will miss Jade today. I agree. I think Jade Riviere has potentially been United's best player, or has been one of the best players this season, one of the best players in the WSL. Has enjoyed a phenomenal campaign, has Jade Riviere. But yeah, I think it makes sense. The fact she came off against City, and you've got a cup final next weekend, it makes sense not to play her, and United will be hoping that she is back fit, ready for next Sunday. But yeah, I do agree that Caitlin Ford will fancy running at Laetitia, whether it's Laetitia or Janssen, we'll wait and see, but whoever it is, Caitlin Ford will fancy herself to get a few chances today, because I think Jade Riviere defending one-on-ones is one of the best defenders in the world. She's ridiculously difficult to beat. So no Riviere today, I think, will hurt United. Bernie says, Harry, I know you're not a Chelsea fan. I am a Chelsea fan, Bernie. But would you say this season has been a success for them, assuming they lose the FA Cup next week? Is League Cup and League enough for Bombastor first season? It's a really good point. I think Chelsea will want the treble. The fact that they went out for the quadruple, if they only came away with a League Cup and a league, it would be disappointing. But I think in any season where you retain the title and you win another trophy, it's good enough. It's more than Chelsea won last year, which is it's an improvement on last season. And I do think that, I think for a first season of manager, it wouldn't be bad. But I do think that in terms of when you're a side going, when you want to go for the quadruple, if you only came away with 2 trophies, you would be disappointed. But the fact that Chelsea have already improved on last season, the performances last season, I think you can only say that it has been a positive. But yeah, we are closing in on kickoff then at the Emirates. It'll be interesting. Just trying to find the game, because luckily today they decided to put one of the biggest games of the season onto the deep depths of the iPlayer. But I have found it, and we are a couple minutes away from kickoff. So do start to get your predictions in the live chat down below. I know we're having a brilliant conversation about what has been a brilliant WSL season, but if you are tuning in, then make sure to get your predictions, as the 2 sides are coming out at the Emirates. It's a massive crowd in what is a massive game for both these clubs. Winner will take second. Arsenal only need a draw though, so that is something they can bear in mind. But both sides will want to come out here and take the 3 points to take that second place and finish runners-up behind champions Chelsea. But it's the last match week of the WSL. We've got to enjoy it. 6 brilliant football matches, all kicking off at Hubbard's 12 at the end of what has been a brilliant season. And I think that, I'm very intrigued today to see how the mid-pack is also going to shape up at the end of 90 minutes. But yeah, 21 match weeks down, 1 to go. And this is it. The 24-25 WSL season is coming to the close in 90 minutes. A big 90 minutes for these 2 sides. Predictions coming into the chat then. Birdie kicking us off with 2-1 Arsenal. Yichen also saying 2-1 Arsenal. I'll give my prediction. I am going to say, I think Arsenal have looked all over the place recently, and even if they play better, United have still looked brilliant this season. So I am going to say, I'll go 2-1 Man United. I think that United will probably take this victory. They've looked stronger, and I think they'll look to end the season on a high, take that second place, and give themselves momentum going into the FA Cup final next week. I think it will be United goals from Mallard and Toon, and it'll be an Arsenal goal from Alessia Russo. And obviously important to remember, if Russo does score today, she will take the golden boot, which would be big for her. The only other player I think that could still win it, Shakira Martinez would need a lot of goals. But the way she's been scoring in the last couple of game weeks, I wouldn't opt against it. But yeah, Russo, from an individual point of view, we're hoping she can get on the score sheet. Phil going 5-1 Arsenal. That would certainly be a turnaround if Arsenal did turn up and put 5 past this United side. But we've seen crazier things happen. Dan wanted to stream says, I don't think Man United were brilliant in the last game. They looked leggy. I think that's more because of the red card. I think they played well. They did well to come back, but once they were down to 10 players, they had to sit deep. And I agree, they did look tired. But when you are a player down, things do get difficult, and you do have to work harder. So we shouldn't see any of that today, as long as all 11 players in a United shirt stay on the pitch. Masek Morar, welcome to the stream, going 2-2. Sir Green's player says Fallon for Golden Glove. Yes, a brilliant season from Talis Joyce, and I think that she'll be looking to, I think build on that next season and hopefully get into the US and US consistently and just keep building on performances as United's starting goalkeeper. All the games are getting underway, and we're about to kick off here at the Emirates. It will be Manchester United to get us started. As both sets of players take a knee against all forms of discrimination. Ella Toon then in the centre circle to kick off the final match week of the WSL season. Toon knocks it back and we're underway, and United looking to put pressure on Arsenal immediately. They know how fragile the Gunners have been defensively in the last couple of games, and United will try and start fast, start positive, and take advantage of that in the early stages. Phil says this Arsenal team could smash anybody, but they're just as likely to get smashed by anybody. It's a wild world of play. Yeah, I agree with that. Arsenal, but some games they've turned up and they've smashed sides 5-0, and then the next week they turn up and get beaten 4-5-0. So I do agree. They're a bit of, you never know what you could get with Arsenal sometimes. But yeah, kick off in all other games in the league as well. Some brilliant games as well. It's a shame that can only watch one at a time, really. But yeah, some brilliant games. So as we've kicked off, then 61 votes in the poll and chat. Make sure to get involved and have a vote if you haven't already. But 56% of people thinking that Arsenal will finish runners-up. 44% think that Man United will take that second place. Pretty tight, but you'd expect that because, again, I think it is really difficult to call between these two sides. Toon has been dispossessed, and now Arsenal will look to come the other way. So, by the way, it is Anna Sandberg is playing right back and Dominic Janssen is playing left back. That is not what I expected it to be for United today, but interesting. So yeah, Sandberg up against Ford on that right-hand side, and Janssen will be out on this left-hand side, looking to deal with Chloe Kelly. Arsenal throw then. Here is Russo. McCabe. Back into Russo, who will look up and look to put the ball in, but that is dropped by Talis Joyce. Falls to Chloe Kelly, who's flicked into the corner, and Arsenal lead. A complete mess from Talis Joyce, and Arsenal take an early advantage. Chloe Kelly back in the starting 11 and back in the goals. But we spoke about how good Talis Joyce has been this season, but that is an absolute howler. And Arsenal take full advantage of it. Not the start that United wanted, and after 2 really poor results for the Gunners, that is the perfect way to kick this game off. It's a good ball in from Russo. You think Talis Joyce is going to claim it easily. She drops it, completely loses sight of it. Chloe Kelly brings it down, skips past the panicked tackle of Sandberg and just loops it into the far corner. Really good finish from Kelly, but an absolute mare. Absolute mare from Talis Joyce. Best goal kick in the league. She just completely... It's not only the fact that she fumbles it, but then she just doesn't realise where it's gone. She fumbles it forwards, but she thinks it's gone behind her. No idea where the ball is, and Chloe Kelly is there to take full advantage. Flicks up off Turner and into the goal, and Arsenal lead early doors in this game. But not what the doctor ordered if you are a Man United fan. A lot of people being caught out by that. Yeah, I think Talis Joyce has been phenomenal. But that was just a bizarre moment. Here is Toon across to Letitia. Letitia to Bizet. Bizet swings it in, looking for Galton. Galton heads it on, looks to fall to Mallard. Clinton runs onto it, but Zinsberger will get there first. Good goalkeeping that from Manuel Zinsberger. Smothers any chance for Grace Clinton. Early goal as well, by the way, at the Joey Stadium. Crystal Palace leading Manchester City by 1-0. And well, two sides there who will both want to forget about their seasons, but Crystal Palace taking an early lead and surprising Man City, looking to leave the league with a bang. But a fast start for Crystal Palace. And a fast start for Arsenal as well. This is what you want to see on the final day. Early goals flying in left, right and centre already. United with a free kick. Sandberg there was just caught in the tackle. I think, by the way, now actually look at it, it's actually a back three, I think, for United. With Sandberg left wing back and Bizet right wing back. Which again, it's interesting. Lots of sides just playing some interesting systems today. But yeah, it does look to be more of a three, the three of Letitia, Turner and Janssen. And then Sandberg's on the left wing and Bizet's on the right wing. Long throw from United, doesn't come off. Kelly on the ball again. Gets brought down by Sandberg, and Arsenal look to take the free kick quickly because Sandberg was too busy complaining and now there's space. Fox. Inside to Little. Little back to Fox. Caldente. On the ball. Here's Marnham. Kelly. Lovely 1-2 touch football from Arsenal. Marnham is forced back to Mariona Caldente, who pokes it through to Russo. Good hold-up play from England's number 9. Reverses it to the left-hand side with Caitlin Ford. Ford running at Letitia. Ford, good burst, cuts it across, and Tullis Joyce does manage to hold on to that one. But again, really good football from Arsenal. Lovely hold-up play from Russo. Ford running direct at Letitia. Goes to the byline, looks to slot it past Tullis Joyce, but that is well claimed by United's goalkeeper. Another early goal coming at Villa Park this time as Villa lead Brighton by 1-0. As I said, that would be a really good game. Two sides that have ended the season well, have really hit form as we've got into the running. But Villa taking the lead there. I think for Villa fans and for Arroyo, there's a lot of potential going into next season. They've looked really good in the last few games and they'll be hoping to build on that into next campaign. United look to go long to Mallard. That is cut out by Arsenal though. Here is Catley. Little. Across to Fox. Fox coming down the right hand side now for Arsenal. Lots of space to use. Goes wider to Kelly. Kelly beats Sandberg, puts the ball into the area, looking for Russo, who heads it goalwards, but just wide of the post. Again, though, really good from Arsenal, and Chloe Kelly back in the 11 today and is causing all sorts of problems. Already has a goal to her name, and this is brilliant. Burst past Sandberg, cuts into the area on her weak foot, and Russo just couldn't put the header on goal. She doesn't... Turner in front of her misses it, and I don't think Russo expected her to miss it. But really fast start from Kelly. Again, looking to prove a point. Still without a club next season. But performances like this are going to help the likes of Arsenal be convinced. United really need to settle in this game. They have not got going. They haven't turned up yet. Justin Williams says United are being way more physical than normal. Yeah, I think they're trying to assert themselves. But it just hasn't worked. Because Arsenal are also trying to do the same thing. And Arsenal have just been stronger. Have just started faster. Summer, welcome to the stream. This is good afternoon. Welcome, Summer. Wait until Arsenal have scored to turn up today. But yeah, good start for Arsenal. And welcome, everyone. Here's Fox. A bit scrappy, but Arsenal are the ones who are coming away with it at the moment. And that's the difference. In those 50-50 moments, Arsenal are the ones winning them. Arsenal are the ones turning the ball over. Great distribution from Zinsberger. Into the feet of Ford. Ford to Caldente. Back to Caitlin Ford. And again, Arsenal have space to use on the right-hand side. Kelly, heavy touch, cut inside, and that is pounced on by Grace Clinton. Janssen into Mallard. Looks to turn. Does manage to lay the ball out to Bizet. Le Tissier. I really don't think this 3-back is working for United. They're isolated. They're going too high. The wing-backs are bombing on too far. Sandberg and Bizet are way too far forward. And again, there, Zara tries to play it out and ends up having to put it out for a throw. As Skinner says to everyone, he's acting there, just telling everyone to calm down. Because I think it's been very rushed. It's very panicky for United at the moment. They do just need to, demonstrated by Tullis Joyce's early error. But United do just need to just settle into the game a little bit. Throwing down the line from United, put out for another one. Another goal, this time coming at the King Power. Leicester City taking the lead against West Ham. Big for Leicester. They've had a tough season. And, coming up against a good West Ham side today, they know it's going to be difficult. But taking an early lead have the Foxes, which is exactly what they want in front of their home crowd to really, end the season with a win. It's always a nice thing to do, just no matter where you are on the table. And a goal as well for Everton. They're leading Tottenham. Another side who have really ended the season strong, and Tottenham, well, things just get more dismal and more pressure mounts onto Robert Villaharm. Well, that means then that we have seen a goal in every single game, bar Chelsea-Liverpool. But what more would you expect from the final day? Goals flying in, 10 minutes in to every fixture, and we've already seen 5 goals. As I said, the game at Stamford Bridge is the only game without a goal at the moment. Dan says, could be a Manchester United club policy to play this system. Maybe the manager is just not good at coaching this system. Well, it's the first time United have used it all season. The reason they're doing it is because they haven't got a right back. That is a long free kick looking for Mallard, but it'll run through for a goal kick. Yeah, so the reason United are playing a free back today is because Riviere is injured and Mannion is suspended. So what they're trying to do is they're playing a 3-back and then they're using Bizet at right wing back, but it's just not working. So it's United would never usually play this way. It's more a forced change because of players not being available. Goal kick from Zinsberger, pounced on by United. Here's Sandberg. Goes back to Janssen. Janssen to Turner. Le Tissier. Looks to go into Toon, holds it up well for Mallard. Mallard skips past the tackle of Caldente. Melvin Mallard, good feet, shifts it out wide to Bizet. Bizet swings into the box, looking for Sandberg, cleared away by Arsenal. Only as far as Janssen. Janssen will swing it back into the penalty area, headed away again. This time it falls to Clinton, who will have a go from range. It's not a bad strike, and what a save that is from Zinsberger. Brilliant reflexes from the Arsenal keeper, because that is a brilliant effort from Grace Clinton. Falls to her 20-25 yards out. Looks up, picks her place, curls it into the top corner, but what a save that is. Brilliant stop by Manuela Zinsberger. Because that it was going in the top corner, and that is a big hand. And a lot of Arsenal fans do not rate her and criticise her performances, and rightfully they haven't been there. But that is a superb save. Sandberg then over the corner, swings it in. It's not a bad ball. Looking for Turner, it's not dealt with. Toon heads it on goal, and that one is in. And United do level. And this time Zinsberger does get it wrong. They're the Toon on the score sheet. And 12 minutes in, and we are all square once again. Really good corner from United. It goes towards Turner, who heads it back across the goal. And Ella Toon is left unmarked to head it over Zinsberger, who should really do better. And just as I was giving her flowers, she probably should have stopped that one. Ball in from Sandberg. Turner wins the header, flicks it onto Toon, and does really well. It's really smart from Toon to head it back across the goal. And within 12 minutes here, it's Arsenal 1, Man United 1. Fast start to this football match. Brilliant stuff. In a game where, both sides are going hell for leather to finish second. It leads by 2. Turner onto Toon. Zinsberger got a hand to it, but couldn't keep it out, and it nestles in the far side netting. Well, as we were then, at the start of the game, Arsenal fans not very happy. Feels as we are disgraced on corners. I mean, it's a weird one because everyone can't just end up in a mess, and Turner rose highest to win it. But I agree, it's that second ball. How is Ella Toon alone there to head the ball, back in? But yeah, Arsenal not doing their job from the corner, and United punishing. A draw would still be enough for Arsenal to finish second, but after a good start, Arsenal did start the better side. It's a frustrating goal to concede for the Gunners. And United now will look to take momentum as Miyazawa brings it forward. Mallard, Toon flicks it over the top, looking for the runner. Galton Zinsberger comes out well and clears it. Looking for Russo, but Turner will win it. Has him pulled back though for an Arsenal free kick. I think Zinsberger was caught after she cleared the ball. So it will be an Arsenal free kick. Bernie says, where's Daphne Van Domslaar? Van Domslaar is in. Well, she was injured. She then came back for a game. I think she played through injury against Lyon, and then Arsenal are now just resting her up until the Champions League final, which makes sense because you've got Zinsberger is still a very capable goalkeeper, and they forced Van Domslaar to play against Lyon, which I understand, but it only makes things worse. So it makes sense they are just resting her up now until the Champions League final. Here is Sandberg. Miyazawa. And suddenly, after United's equaliser, they're the ones who are getting on the ball and just starting to play their football. Ball down the line looking for Galton. Williamson will get there instead, and Arsenal now will try and play out. Williamson down the line, intercepted by Janssen. Kelly gets a toe on it and does enough to direct it towards Caldente. Little under pressure from Clinton, but that is given as a free kick apparently. Too forceful from Grace Clinton. But we're starting to see the signs that we have seen for Arsenal in the last couple of game weeks where just trying to play out, they get caught in bad positions, and they've got to be careful because if United have brilliant presses of the ball, and if they do catch Arsenal in possession, they do win the ball back out of the pitch, United will punish. Here is Little. Forced back to Zinsberger. Again, good. Grace Clinton is just sitting on Kim Little. Caldente receives it under pressure from Toon and just about gets it back to Zinsberger, who is forced long, and United do win that header, and that's what I mean. United pressing high, although Miyazawa has now given it away. And here is Kelly. Down the line into Caitlin Ford. Ford cuts it back, only to find Miyazawa though, and Sandberg will put it out for a Arsenal throw. Fox. Marnham. Caldente looks to flick it over the head of Sandberg. Intercepted. Sandberg goes long with it. Williamson will be forced back once again to Zinsberger. Ball inside from Williamson. Again, Marnham caught in possession, but apparently that one's also a foul. Got another goal at the Joey, by the way. Manchester City have equalised against Crystal Palace. The already relegated Palace led there within a minute, but that lead only lasting for 15, and City are now back level in that match. But if City do win today, by the way, and United lose, then City could end up finishing only a point behind United, which all things considered wouldn't be too bad at all. Which is why United will want to win today as well, to put a bigger gap between them and their rivals. Throw from Sandberg. He's intercepted, but it falls straight back to United, and they will look to get their foot on the ball once again. Here is Dominic Janssen. Clinton, 1-2 with the Dutch centre-half. Kelly there just caught Sandberg as Janssen played a pass off that. And that's a silly one, that, and gives United a free kick. But United definitely the better side now. United started fast. Arsenal started fast. They got their goal, but since United's response from that corner, United and other ones getting on the ball and dictating the tempo. Janssen goes direct looking for Mallard, cut out by Catley. Falls to Galton, who plays it over top into Melvin Mallard. Running down the left-hand side. Does need some support, though. Here is Mallard, looking to beat Fox. Cuts it into Clinton, who takes a touch away from Williamson. Fox wins it back, clears it, only as far as Sandberg. Sandberg delivers. Cut out by Williamson, falls to Toon on the edge. Toon heads it on to Bizet. Goes back to Toon. Ford wins it off her and puts it out for a throw. Good football this from United. Bizet over the throw. United could go for a long throw there, I think. Potentially so. Yes, they are. Bizet goes long, doesn't get enough height on it. Cut out by McCabe. Bit messy, but eventually Calden does clear it. And now United will look to build once again from Valentine's Joyce. Taylor says Arsenal now conceded 10 goals in 3 games. That's not a good stat to have going into that UWCL final. Yeah, completely agree. It's Arsenal have picked the worst time. I think there's two run or periods of a season where it's most important to have good form, and that is all the most crucial part of the season. That's the winter period, so over Christmas and the festive fixtures and the end of the season. And Arsenal have picked. I think Arsenal picked the worst time to have a bad run of form. To end the season when you've got a Champions League final coming up against the best side in the world, and you've decided to go and play poorly in your last couple of games. They're looking to change that now, though, as Kelly comes forwards. Kelly puts it in, or turns into a bit of a cross shot and ends up hitting the roof of the net. Troubled Tallis Joyce a little bit there, but the goalkeeper could just see that one over. But yeah, I do agree that Arsenal have got to shore up. They've got to look better. And the preparation for the Champions League final has to be good over the next 2 weeks. Phil says this midfield is getting dominated again. Yeah, same old problems. That pivot just does not work. And I don't get how long it... Because obviously it's been really poor in these kind of games. But against Barcelona, if Slagers plays a little Caldente pivot against Barcelona, they will get ran through. And that is that is just being honest. That's I don't Arsenal will struggle. It's as simple as that. If Little and Caldente play in the pivot, Bonmati and Putellas will have an absolute field day, and Arsenal will get torn apart. It's something that Arsenal have got to be careful of. Jason says, what we really need in women's football is signature celebrations. Does even one player have one? There's got to be a couple, surely. And everyone's saying, Sanko's backflip, that is true. Sanko and Mallard's not got. It's not necessarily a signature celebration, but she always pulls a really good celebration out. Toon loves a heart. That is true. Yeah, I do think that it will be cool to see more and more signature celebrations developed. But there'll also be ones that you don't notice quite yet. I'm trying to think like the likes of Russo. Does Russo? I don't think Russo has one. Does she? I'm trying to think of the high volume goal scorers. But yeah, I'm sure we will see a lot of celebrations develop. Seeing celebrations. That's a ball deep from Fox, cleared away though by United. Halfway through the first 45 minutes, then still 1-1 at the Emirates. Both sides locked in battle. It's been a very, very good game of football so far. United, though, have probably been the better side and will be hoping to make that count. Flag up there against Galton, and it will be an Arsenal free kick. Dan says, who is the best women's footballer in the world? Someone says, trophy-wise, Titana Bonmati. Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think it's the $1 million question. But yeah, I think that Bonmati probably. if we're thinking on our day, is superb. But there's lots of players out there. It's a very hard debate, especially because of the difference between Europe and America, and even like between England and the other leagues. There are differences, so it is difficult to compare sometimes. Arsenal now the ones coming forward. McCabe and Bizet had a collision there. McCabe's not happy. Here's Fox. Arsenal coming forward no matter what. Ball in from Kelly, headed away by Janssen. And now Mallard looks to come the other way and looks to catch Arsenal out in transition. Calorente well fought though and does win it back. That's really good defending from Mariano Calorente. And now Arsenal coming the other way. Fox dispossessed by Miyazawa. And now United will build once again. Phil says Bonmati is best in the world. Now Marta is all time for me. Yeah, two good shouts. I mean, Marta, you can't argue against Marta, can you? What a player. Yeah, there's some difficult ones. Because they get Mallard, big tackle there. Apparently that's too forceful and she's not happy. I think it's been a couple of them where United have been really physical, but I don't really know. I don't really think they're fouls, to be honest. Let's have a look at this one. Fox. I'm not sure there's much wrong with that. I don't think there's much wrong with that from Mallard. And I understand why she's frustrated. Because that's a difficult one. But yeah, player down for Man United. I think that's Bizet. So both sides will get an opportunity to get a drink in and to get a rest and some tactical instructions from their managers. Bizet just taking a moment. But yeah, 25 minutes gone. It's been a good game. It's been an enjoyable watch. I think it's two sides that know what's on the line. I don't think either side is playing at their very best at the moment, but they're playing pretty level. And I think that 1-1 is probably a fair scoreline, but United have been building into the game and they have been getting better. Someone says, to the shirts they read on it just so they know they're United as a sponsor for people who get confused. Well, I think it's a sponsor. I'm not quite... that's a good point, actually. I'm not quite sure. I mean, someone may know. Someone associated with United may know. But I hadn't really thought about that. I haven't seen it. It's not their usual sponsor, but yeah, it just says red. Don't know what that's about. Bizet's back to her feet. Both sides will take to the field once again. The referee's going to have to give United the hurry up here because they are not ready to return. Really, yeah, as much as you give, yes, she's done the nice thing giving United a hurry up there. If you're the referee, just blow the whistle. They're not in position. They're not in position. Taylor says, playing at the Emirates Stadium in this heat with how the field looks dry and daunting to play at. Yeah, it's not. It is warm, I agree. It's not, incredibly hot just yet, but it is quite warm. But, these are two sides who have played in big grounds now, though. Arsenal thrive on the atmosphere. They're used to the atmosphere. So, and that pitch is, to be fair, that Emirates pitch will be well looked after. It's hardly the worst pitch we've seen. It is still a very, very good football pitch. So, I think they'll be all right. Russo tries to reverse it to Kelly. Kelly does manage to get there, being hassled by Sandberg, though. Falls to the floor. No problem, not a foul. Just fell to the floor there. Here's Clinton. Tight play. That looks to be handball, but it is said it will be given as a United throw. Close quarters stuff. That very combative from both sides. Neither side willing to give up possession. Mark Skinner. There feels to be a bit of frustration from Mark Skinner. I think he'll be disappointed that his side haven't kicked on and aren't leading this match yet. Here is Sandberg. Back to Janssen. Feels like the pitch is a beautiful carpet. Yeah, it's a top. It's an elite arena. It's an elite pitch. I'm sure that it's well watered and well looked after. Calorente forced backwards into Williamson. Under pressure from Galton, but does manage to work it to McCabe. McCabe goes back to Zinsberger. Fox. Marnham. Here is Calorente. Calorente will now look to burst away, but Galton keeps her honest and wins the ball back for an Arsenal throw. Williamson. Across to Catley. Someone says Arsenal bring the best out of Kelly. Yeah, I think Kelly's looked quite good in the this short loan spell, and I do think that they will end up signing her on a permanent. But yeah, it's again today another good performance from Kelly, and here she is on the ball again on the right hand side. Ford, Kelly, Calrente. Good play from Marnham. Calrente direct into Russo, who looks to flick it around the corner, but Janssen wins it back. United look to come the other way, but Catley steps in superbly. Fox, Calrente, Marnham round the corner to Fox. This is good from United. Fox into Kelly, cuts it back. Janssen will fall to Marnham, and that's just past the post. Whisker away from sending Arsenal in front. Good fiddle down the right-hand side from the Gunners. Kelly tries to put the ball across the face of goal. Janssen cuts it out, but it ends up rebounding to Frida Marnham, who has dragged that just wide. So close to putting Arsenal back in front. Oh, skims the outside the post. Unlucky from Marnham. A good effort though, better from Arsenal when they won the ball back and then they moved it quickly there and caught United out. Here's Bizet. Into Toon. Letitia. Goes long, finds Mallard, who holds it up well, nods it onto Bizet. Bizet takes too long at things, but does just manage to hold on to it. United now moving it backwards. Turner. Here with Maya Letitia. Again, another standout for Man United this season. Tullis Joyce sends it forward. Bizet looks to flick it onto Mallard. McCabe wins it back. Bit messy in there though from Arsenal. Do manage to get it backwards though to Catley. But yeah, Chloe Kelly's contract is up this summer with Man City, and I highly doubt she's going to re-sign. Another foul given against Man United there, and more frustration. This time from Bizet. Apparently she dragged down McCabe there. Again, I think it's a harsh one. But yeah, so I don't think Kelly will re-sign with City unless they find a manager that manages to convince her to. To be fair, she might leave even before they even got a manager, so... I think Arsenal's probably the favourite destination for her. Fox. Williamson. Into Fox. Oh, Calrente round the corner into Russo. One back though by United, and now the away side look to come the other way, but what an interception from Williamson. Sandberg tried to feed the ball through to Gautam, but Williamson steps in and wins that back. Huge interception that, because if not, Leia Gautam was in. Zinsberger into Calrente, turns nicely, finds Marnham. Marnham, Kelly, Fox. Out wide to Chloe Kelly. Puts the ball in, but that does come off Janssen and go out for an Arsenal corner. Blaine says, watching the Chelsea game, and honestly, this is the best game where it's playing in the three. She's a little bit like her old self. I mean, it's interesting seeing Chelsea use the three today. Whether it's just today because they want to hold on to that invincible record, or whether it's because it's something that Chelsea want to do next season. Will be interesting to see. Tottenham have equalised, by the way, against Everton. Drew Spence with the goal. Half an hour played there. And that is now 1-1. David says, would you keep Marnham, Hurtig and Blackstenius? Well, Hurtig is already leaving. Arsenal have confirmed that one. And I think Marnham and Blackstenius will be kept. But it'll be interesting to see. Corner in, not a great one. And that is cleared. Only as far as Calrente. Fox swings it in. Header won by McCabe. Turner then gets it away. Williamson, Ford. Here is Calrente on the turn. Had space to use. Instead goes sideways to Little. Marnham. Brilliant ball into the runner Catley, who cuts it back, and that's turned away by Millie Turner. Bizet can only flick it on to another Arsenal player. This is better from the Gunners. Here's McCabe. Goes inside to Caldente. Back to Katie McCabe. Goes one further to Kelly. Kelly going at Janssen. Cuts inside. Swings the ball in. Not a bad ball. Headed away by Turner. And the free kick is given against Alessia Russo there. I think she just kicked Turner in the face as Turner headed the ball away. But yeah, United have responded better since that pause about 10 minutes ago. Arsenal have looked better. Another good ball in there from Kelly. Again, does well. Kelly's doing well, cutting on that left foot and then just swinging the ball in. Is causing quite a few problems. Phil says, I'll keep Blackstone and Marnham unless we can sell for good money. Yeah, I agree. I think they're good enough to potentially you knock them down, especially, I mean, to be fair, Blackstone already is and Marnham is a little bit, but potentially you knock them more to squad. I think, if you think they're consistent enough, but I think if you make them more squad rotation players and they don't, you don't need to see that. You don't really need that consistency. You just need the quality, which we know they both have on their day. United throw, Sandberg over it. Plays a 1-2 with Toon. Toon dispossessed though. Marnham now coming the other way. He's brought down by Ella Toon, and that'll be an Arsenal free kick. Another goal by the way at the King Power. Leicester City now leading West Ham by 2-0, doubling their advantage and looking to go out with a bang on Leicester, giving those home fans something to cheer about. Here is Kelly. Janssen. Inside to Goughton. Goughton back to Sandberg. Bit scrappy, but Clinton comes away with it. Gives it to Letitia, who's been caught on the ball, but luckily Turner bails her out. Could have been very dangerous. Ford won it off Letitia, but luckily Turner had it covered. Ten minutes to go until half time. Throw from McCabe over the head of Ford. United clear it. Here is Williamson. Caldente under pressure goes backwards. Here is Kim Little. Little to Fox. Now it's Caldente. Arsenal being patient, just waiting. United sat in and preventing options from progressing forwards. Poor pass from Caldente, but Catley just about gets there before Mallard. McKay forced backwards. Little under pressure. Goes to Zinsberger. Fox goes long looking for Kelly. Cut out by Dominic Janssen. Here is Sandberg. Toon. Turning on the ball. Good pressure from Caldente, who kicks a couple of lumps out of her and then eventually will concede the free kick. It's been a very combative game. Both sides have been very aggressive. Both sides have given away quite a few free kicks. Hasn't really worked right in either side's favour, to be honest. Janssen caught on possession, and now Arsenal will look to exploit the open space. Little to Marnham. Marnham has a shot on goal, too weak though, and straight at Tullis Joyce. Pass from Little wasn't good enough. Arsenal win it off Janssen, look to break away. Little had two options, had Russo to her left, had Marnham in space on the right. She chose the right option, but just didn't put enough on the pass. And Marnham was forced to shoot first time and, well, ended up passing it straight to Fallon Tullis Joyce. Caldente caught on the ball by Clinton, and now United are coming forward. Clinton out wide to Bizet. Inside to Toon. Bizet. back to Toon. United just probing, swung in by Letizia now. Mallard will flick goalwards, but that is flicked well over the bar and out for an Arsenal goal kick. Alex runs the stream, says Wolfsburg of yesterday announced that Jonsdottir and Wilms will leave. I think they can maybe join Man United. Their right back and winger and Meyer can play centre half, and they are Jansen's friends. That is true, and that's the kind of calibre of player that United have got to be looking at. They need to be looking at European experience and, players that have played at that level and will strengthen their squad. And I completely agree. I do think that a backup right back to Riviere is crucial. That is, I think that's a position they really need to improve in. Toon brought down again by Kelly. Another goal by the way at the Joey, and Crystal Palace have retaken the lead against Man City. They went 1-0 up. They were then pegged back by City. And now 5 minutes out before half-time, Crystal Palace lead by 2-1. And Lee Smerard's Eagles, yes, they are leaving the league at the end of the season and will be back playing Championship football next season. But they are going out in style as they lead again at Manchester City, and it would be a disappointing result for the citizens. United free kick then, Toon to swing it in. It's not a bad ball, looking for Mallard, but that is well claimed by Zinsberger. Now Arsenal look to go, but Zinsberger decides against it. And he's still holding on to it. Rolls it out to Williamson. Inside to Ford. Good hold-up play. Goes to Caldente. Mallard wins it back, and that is out for an Arsenal throw. McCabe, long throw down the line into Russo. It's a good one. Russo will get on the end of it and look to beat Letizia. Alessia Russo for Arsenal. Cuts it back to McCabe. McCabe to Russo. Still being followed by Letizia. Russo gets some space, has a shot blocked by Turner. And Jansen will now look to play out. Williamson. Marnham. Kim Little. To Caldente. Fox. Fox into Kelly. Kelly spins Sandberg once again. Gets the ball into the box. Russo gets there first but can't quite turn it goalwards. Millie Turner deals with it. Ball back out with Kelly, who has space to use. Goes wide to Fox. Caldente. Shimmies to the left. Can't quite find it. Ball in from Williamson. And that is a header towards goal from Russo. That will be easily picked up by Fallon Tallis-Joyce. Again, one of those where Arsenal started the better side. United then got back into the game, and now Arsenal have stepped it up in the last 5-10 minutes as we start to approach half-time. Bizet being forced to run quite far back here, a bit risky. Does go back to a goalkeeper now. Jansen, heavy touch, just about gets away with it. Is dispossessed, but it will fall to Miyazawa, who manages to get it clear for United. Messy, though, from the away side. Bit scrappy, and Bizet just put them under all sorts of pressure. Bizet's really struggled in that right wing-back role today. Fox. Williamson, poor pass, and United pounce on it, and now they look to come forwards. Here is Bizet. Bizet charging through, looking to get past McCabe. Will get it into the area, deflects onto the crossbar and onto the roof of the net. It's been given as a goal kick. Potentially it didn't take a deflection then. But Bizet just flicking it up onto the crossbar. Unorthodox effort, more of a cross. Caught Zinsberger out, but off the crossbar and over. I mean, McCabe was pulling her shirt all the way. There isn't a touch in there from McCabe. But Arsenal get away with one there. Alex says, is it likely that CK will stay at Arsenal? I think so. I think she's clearly enjoyed it, and she's helped Arsenal this season and is still a very, very good player. So I would be surprised if Arsenal weren't interested in that option. Long ball from the Gunners finds Russo. Has to look up and see Kelly in space. Does try to cut it back to her and Janssen clears it. Really good back to front play from Arsenal. Long ball over the top into the runner Russo. And they've won a corner from it. Another goal, by the way, for Aston Villa. They now lead Brighton by 2-0. Villa and Arroyo ending the season in style with some big wins in their last couple of games. And now they are winning big against Brighton as it stands. Cornelius says, I expected George left back and Sandberg right back. Better balance maybe. Yeah, again though, similar to Riviere, George is being protected really for the FA Cup final. So instead they've brought in another centre half and put Bizet on at wing back. But you would usually expect, you would have expected George to play this game, but it makes sense. They want to rest her up for the next Sunday. Kelly on the corner then. Ball swung in, near post, cleared by Letitia. McCabe. Kelly onto her right foot, looks to cross it in, but that's cut out by Sandberg. Toon will now drive it forwards, plays it backwards, but Mallard does get there and then runs out of play. Running out of road there, Melvin Mallard. As we do approach the 45th minute, not expecting too many minutes of additional time. I'd probably say maximum a couple. It is going to be 3. That is more than a couple, but, can't always be right. Fox over the throat. Goes into Marnham. Marnham overruns it though, and Turner will clear it. Only as far as Katie McCabe. Caldente. Kelly to McCabe. Kelly down the line causing problems. Cuts inside now. Fires a shot off with her right foot, but again, that will roll on through to Fallon Tullis-Joyce. Alex mentioning in there that Rodman is obviously the last of the Triple Espresso that hasn't been pregnant. Yeah, congratulations to Mallory Swanson. That her and her partner announced her pregnancy. But yeah, as you say, Trinity Rodman, the only one out of those 3 that hasn't got pregnant now. I'm sure a transfer target of many giants across Europe. The likes of Barcelona, Lyon, Chelsea, the usual. Looking to spend big on America's best. Speaking of America's best, here's Emily Fox. Goes into Caldente. Caldente through to Ford. Caitlin Ford with a good chance. Gets a shot off and that's a good save by Fallon Tullis-Joyce. Again though, good foot from Arsenal. Back to front. 3 passes and suddenly they're in. And Ford just hesitates. She slows down here to work, to think about getting the shot off. And that let her down a little bit, but still hit the target and forced a good save out of Tullis-Joyce. Arsenal corner. Gunners looking to end the half strong. McCabe over the set piece. Arsenal gathering bodies around the penalty spot. Ball in from McCabe, headed away by Mallard. Caldente, back out to McCabe. McCabe will get another go, this time to reverse it into Kelly, who has been followed well by Janssen. Kelly, though, posted into the space for find Fox. Here's McCabe. Fox. Goes backwards to Caldente. Fox sells a dummy, but dummies it to no one, and Bizet looked to see it out for a goal kick. Ball didn't leave the pitch though, and Arsenal will win it back. McCabe, Marnham. Katie McCabe, crossfield to Little. Little into Russo. Williamson. And that will be it for the first half here at the Emirates. Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1. A well-fought 45 minutes that leads to us being all square at the interval. Arsenal taking a very early lead through Chloe Kelly, who pounced on a blunder from Fallon Tullis-Joyce. But then on the 15th minute, a United corner allowed Ella Toon to head past Zinsberger and level the game up at 1-1. And since then, it's been a tight contest between two sides who are battling it out for second place. 45 minutes, though, for either side to take that runners-up position and end the season higher in the table. Bernie says, ideally a window for Olivia Smith, a right back, and box midfielder to cover everyone would be great for Chelsea. Yeah, I think Chelsea will have a big window. They'll look to cover a number of positions. They'll look to just upgrade on what they've got, which is ridiculous to say, but you know that was what they'll look at. Bernie also mentioning Alyssa Thompson. Yes, superb player. We've seen her feature for the USWNT now a few times and has looked really sharp at the start of the NWSL season as well. So it's good stuff from her. Summer says, where do you think Nobbs will go? Jordan Nobbs? Yeah, I think that's an interesting one. Either, I think she's probably looking at a women's championship move. I like Jordan Nobbs. I think she's a very good player, but I do think that her days at the top level are potentially ran. But we'll wait and see. She might get picked up by a side that are lower down the league by Villa. I think that it more shows the statement of intent from Aston Villa. Arroyo wants to climb the league. They want to, win. They want to go and take the game to the biggest sides in the division, and we've seen that in these last couple of games. I mean, we'll run through the scores, but we'll start Aston Villa leading Brighton by 2-0 at the moment, which speaks absolute volumes as to their ambition and where they want to be. So just looking at the halftime scores, then obviously this game is 1 goal apiece. Aston Villa lead Brighton by 2-0. The only goalless game is at Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea are level with Liverpool at 0-0. Obviously, if Chelsea do go on to win or draw that match, they will finish the season as invincibles. Everton are level with Tottenham 1-1 over there. Everton taking an early lead before Tottenham responded with a goal from Drew Spence. Not Jed Spence, he plays for the men's team. Leicester City lead West Ham by 2-0. A really good 45 minutes from Leicester in front of the home crowd. And then probably the most shocking result of the lot, Manchester City 1, Crystal Palace 2 at half-time. Yes, at the Joey Stadium, Crystal Palace looking to get relegated in style as they are currently beating Man City by 2-1. It would be Crystal Palace's third win of the season. But the current results, by the way, would see Tottenham drop to 11th. I mean, wow. That has been a terrible season for the other club in North London. I'm sure Arsenal fans, though, will not mind that at all. Seeing their North London rivals struggling towards the bottom of the table. Phil says on the City might be an option for Nobbs. Yeah, completely agree. David Fraser says Carpenter is on the move from Lyon. Yes, that is big news. Lyon are looking to move on Daniele van der Donk, and due to, obviously, with Carpenter and van der Donk being in a relationship, it looks to be that Ellie Carpenter would look to leave the club as well. So that's interesting. That's an interesting development, and that is a world-class player who is still pretty young, who could potentially be on the market this summer. Yi Chen says, but I thought Nobbs would have been an important role for it. She has, but and she has played quite a bit for Aston Villa this season, but Nobbs is coming towards the end of her career. She is only getting older, and I think Villa are looking to improve. You look at the window that Villa had last season, and I think the appointment of Arroyo shows that Villa are looking for young, exciting, high-potential talents that are going to come in and take the league by storm. And if they can execute that this summer, they could be a real force to be reckoned with. Phil Carpenter is a fun player to watch. Yeah, superb player, and still a lot of potential, and has won trophy after trophy in such a short space of time, and is only going to get better. But yeah, Alex saying, are you sure? What if DVDs are also Leon? But yeah, it looks like Van der Donk is the reason. It looks like Van der Donk. Leon want to sell Van der Donk, so if Van der Donk goes, then Carpenter will follow. which is a risk from Leon, but sometimes it happens. It's difficult. But yeah, I think Carpenter will be very interesting to see she gets picked up by, because as Alex says, Chelsea have got bronze, Barcelona have got Oda Battier and have now signed Leia Alexandri. So I think it's an interesting one. I do agree that I think Carpenter would be an upgrade on bronze, and as you say, Bonpastor knows Carpenter and all that, but yeah, I think it's a difficult one, because you can't just say to Lucy Bronze, "You're now our backup right back," because I'm not sure she'll be very happy with that. But yeah, overall on these two sides, I think that it has been a very, very well fought game. Two sides that know the importance, but also aren't playing at 110% because of their big cup finals coming up. So it's an interesting situation this game finds itself in. I do think the second half will be a little bit more open as both sides start to go for the game. Taylor says, Ella Toon is such a big game player. Sure, he scores the hardest goals in the biggest games. I agree, she's a big game player, and she has played well in some big games. I think last weekend in the Manchester derby, she was quite quiet, but at the Etihad, she was brilliant. Against Arsenal today, she's also played well. So I do agree. I do think she's a good player. But yeah, I think that Toon has had a good impact on this game and has had a good 2025. If she can take, I think if Toon has a good Euros and then hits the ground running next season, she could really catapult United to a really, really good position. And that's the thing, United, if they bring in a couple players, they improve a little bit, and suddenly they're gonna end up really challenging Chelsea and taking it. And I'm intrigued to see what United can do in Europe. We've seen all three English sides this year got through to the knockouts. Arsenal in the Champions League final, but United haven't really made waves in Europe at all in the women's game. So I think next year is a brilliant opportunity for United and for Skinner to really prove themselves on the European stage against the best in Europe. But yeah, Taylor says Janssen has been a weak link in that Man United midfield. You can't expect me as to do everything in midfield. That's because Janssen isn't playing midfield. Janssen's playing left centre half. It's Miazara and Clinton in there, which is a very aggressive midfield, to be fair. But yeah, so United are playing a back three, and Janssen's playing as a left centre half. That's why Janssen's not doing anything in midfield, because she's not playing there. But yeah, it's been an interesting tactical switch for United. To go to, I understand, again, as I said earlier, it's been forced due to the injury of Riviere and the suspension for Mannion. They've been forced to go for a 3-back, but I do think it has hurt them, and I'll be intrigued to see whether they stick with it in the second half, whether they look to change things up. Someone says attendance prediction. Well, I know that they've sold at least 40,000 tickets, so I'm going to say, I'll probably say about 46,000 will be my prediction. It's a good attendance. Last game of the season at the Emirates, in the fight for second place. It's been good to see. But yeah, now watching the highlights of the Chelsea game. See, Chelsea still 0-0 with Liverpool. But yeah, if you are tuning in and you are Chelsea fans or whoever, after this game we will be switching over and watching the Chelsea trophy lift. Once all the games are over, we'll go and watch the champions lift the title. And stick around for have a conversation and talk about what has been a really strong year in the WSL, and start looking ahead. Obviously, we'll have post-season stuff out next week, and we've got the FA Cup final, we've got the Champions League final, and then we start looking ahead towards the European Championships in Switzerland over this summer. Very, very exciting. And then just like that, within a flash, we'll be back with the start of next season. So, it comes around very quickly. I mean, I can't believe this season's already over. It feels like it's gone by so quick. But yeah, last 45 minutes of the campaign coming up. Sam says, when did Chelsea get the trophy? Straight after this game. So yeah, as I said, we will stay on, and after all the matches are concluded, we will stay on and watch the trophy lift. But yeah, I think that
I really can't call what's going to happen in the second half because both sides had their spells. I think that Arsenal did look stronger and did start to get back into the game, but it's one of those where United could so easily just turn it game on its head and take control once again. So it's a difficult one to call. I think it'll be pretty even, and whoever takes it's going to take it. I know a lot of people, including myself, predicted quite small margins of victory. And I think that could be the case. We're locked at 1-1 at the moment, but I know a lot of people said 2-1, 3-1. So I definitely think that that is along the right lines. But yeah, so we've seen a lot of goals so far, by the way. Goals flying in all over the place. Obviously, if you want to see us talk about all 6 games on this final day, we will be back on Monday for our last match week review of the season. I'm sure that people who have supported us and watched the channel for a long time will know that every Monday, usual match week review, and that will be happening once again, the final one of the year. And while we have got a break, I will, it's a selfless plug, if you are tuning in for the first time on this final day, then do make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. It massively helps us out. We are looking to push through and get as many times as possible and grow our audience as much as possible ready for the European Championships this summer. If you have, I'm sure we've mentioned it before, but we are covering every single game at the Euros. We won't miss a single match. So yeah, do make sure to hit that subscribe button and join us for the post-season content, and then looking towards the Euros. But a big summer coming up, a big year for women's football, and we want you guys to join us and be a big part of that. So do make sure to join in on the channel if you haven't already. Someone says, are Chelsea at Stamford Bridge or Kings Meadow? They are at Stamford Bridge. Phil says, Walsh is a game controller, not really a player who stands out and shines individually, but is elite at what she does. Yeah, completely agree. Walsh is the player that goes under the radar and just gets the job done. Bernie says, Renee Slagers is a good man manager. It seems gets the players galvanised, but does she have the tactics and in-game management? Yeah, it's something that I agree, but obviously she is still a very, very young manager. She's still got a lot to learn. So, which is why I think it's a gamble that Arsenal have did bring her in on a permanent. Because yes, I agree. I think you're right, and I think they are. Slagers does a very good job at getting the players ready and motivating them to go out, and that's why they've won the games they have this season, because she's put 11 players out on the pitch, told them to go play football, and they've done it. But they won't get away with that against the best sides in the world. They can't get away with that next season. Slagers is going to have to develop as a coach over the summer. She's going to have to find a way of playing. She's going to have to develop tactically. So I do think that it's going to be interesting to see how Slagers can adapt. Now she is the permanent manager. She's got to find a bit of individuality and as I agree, become a better tactician. Taylor asks who your favourites going into the Euros. Phil says I think Germany could surprise a few people. Yeah, completely agreed. Especially because due to the geographical location of Germany and Switzerland, I think it will very much feel like a home tournament for Germany. They'll have a lot of fans who will go over. It's a very easy trip, to be fair, to get through. Being in Central Europe and to navigate, and it's quite nice, to be fair. But from an England point of view, quite a far way to go. But for Germany, it will feel like a home tournament. And they've got a brilliant manager, brilliant coach. They brought in last year, and they will look to have a really strong campaign. They've got some top players. But yeah, I think there's a lot of countries in the running. Yi Chen asks, will you do some potential movement prediction? Yeah. Well, we've got loads of content coming out over the next few weeks. We've got all our post-season stuff. We're gonna have transfer stuff. We're gonna have Euros content, all sorts. There'll be so many videos coming left, right, and centre. So that's why I do say, if you haven't already, then do make sure to subscribe, become part of the community, because loads of content on the way as we break down this WSL season and we look forward to next season and we look forward to the Euros. Lots of football coming. But yeah, it will be big Euros for England, and I do think it's be difficult. I think we last Euros and in the World Cup we went into it with England and Spain as front runners. But I do think there's a lot of nations who will be a couple of nations who will be looking to compete. Netherlands are one. Germany, as we've said, France. They'll be trying to catch up and trying to cause those two sides a lot of problems. But yeah, I think that it will be a good tournament. We haven't ended the domestic season though, and both sides are out onto the pitch to finish the last 45 minutes of this year's campaign. As it stands, Arsenal would finish as runners-up, but all it takes is a United goal. And speaking of United needing goals, the away side are turning to their bench. It is going to be Elizabeth Turland coming on for United. Just wait and see who she's going to come on for. I'm not quite sure yet, but Turland is on and she'll play Sandberg. So United are going to a 4. It will be Janssen at left back, Bizet at right back, Turland up front, Mallard on the right hand side. So United are making that change. They are going to a back 4, and they'll be hoping that can make the difference in the second 45. But Turland onto the pitch to offer United some firepower. But yeah, people discussing Spain's World Cup win. As I said, lots, that will all be coming for us. But yeah, polling chat, 63% backing Arsenal to hold on to this result and finish runners up. Man United have got 45 minutes to change that. Russo knocks it back and we're underway for the second 45 and the last 45 minutes of this year's WSL. Been a brilliant campaign. Which side will end it in style? All the other games kicking off as well. As it stands, Arsenal finishing runners-up. Tottenham falling to 11th. Chelsea would go invincible. But 45 minutes and all of that could change. United, it's important. I think they come out and they look to set the tempo because Arsenal did probably end the half as the better side. Here is Clinton. Cleared out for a throw by Kelly. Alex, would you bench Turland for Mallard? I think they both offer you different things. Turland offers you hold up, offers you a bit of physicality and a really good aerial threat. Mallard offers you directness and that ball in behind. So I think that it'd be more of a case I would pick base game on game. For example, today, Skinner went for Mallard to be direct and to try and get that ball over the top. But in other games where you need a bit of a presence, like against Chelsea, for example, you need someone who's going to hold the ball up. You need someone who's going to be physical up there. You'd probably opt to go for Turland. Here's Russo into McCabe. McCabe into Ford. Ford looks to beat Letitia. Good defending from Maya Letitia, who has now moved out to right back. And does flick the ball up the pitch looking for Turland, who can't quite win it off Catley. Arsenal back on the ball. Carolente. Ford round the corner. Only to Miyazawa though. Toon looks to flick it towards Bizet, but instead puts it off the pitch. Not quite what she was trying to do there. Yeah, Skinner hoping that his tactical tweaks will make the difference in this second half. We know Mark Skinner, we know United. There'll be that ambition, there'll be that competitiveness to finish runners up. They were in second for a longer period of the season than Arsenal have been. They'll feel like they deserve it. I think it is fair to say that United have been the second best side in the WSL season, so it would be deserved, but they've got to do the job. They need to find a goal in the next 45 minutes. Good strength from Ford to beat Bizet, still going through. Clinton brings her down, and that is given as an Arsenal penalty. United are furious, but Ford is felled by Grace Clinton, and Mel Bergin points to the spot. I think it'd be interesting to have a look back at this one. So Ford, aggressive up against Bizet, wins it back, skips inside. I don't think that's a penalty. No, Ford. Ford makes a meal of it. Ford has absolutely conned the referee there. that's not enough to bring her down. It's almost like Clinton puts her leg across, but it doesn't trip Ford up. Ford just almost jumps over the leg. I don't think that's a penalty, but it has been given. And it will give Chloe Kelly an opportunity. Will it be Kelly or will it be Caroline Tate? Both are very good at taking penalties. Surely it's Mariana Canate. But look back at this one. Ball rebounds off them. It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. I think Phil puts it right. It is a clumsy challenge, but Ford has absolutely bought that. So Mariana Calente then from 12 yards to put Arsenal in front and to put themselves in a very strong position to go on and confirm second place. Calente versus Tallis Joyce to put Arsenal ahead. Mel Bergin will blow her whistle. Calente will take her time. There we go. Now we're getting the penalty taken. Calente from 12 yards to put Arsenal ahead. And it's in. Sends Tallis Joyce the wrong way. Finds the bottom right corner. And Mariona Calente converts from the spot. And Arsenal lead by 2-1. Dubious penalty. But Calente makes no mistake. And Arsenal are back in front. Solid penalty. Send the goalkeeper the wrong way. Find the bottom corner. Perfect. Exactly what you want from an Arsenal point of view. And now United are going to have to dig in if they want to turn this game around and finish second place. Calente, good run up. Sells the dummy. Tallis Joyce dives to the right hand side. And Calente goes, thank you very much. And I'm going to put it the other side. Really good penalty from a master. A really good season for Calente in all competitions for Arsenal this season. And that is another goal to add to her tally. How many people are... Sorry, Arsenal celebrating there. So many people just taking pictures of the team celebrating. Celebrate the goal. Watch the game. Anyway, back underway at the Emirates. I think it's one of my biggest frustrations with football is the amount of people who go there and just spend the whole time taking pictures and filming. Like that, Arsenal just scored a penalty, and as you're watching the replay, everyone's just like filming the penalty and like taking pictures of the team all celebrating together and huddling. It's like you should be the one celebrating. It really frustrates me. I apologise if anyone in the chat is that kind of person and does go to football and film, but if you've paid the ticket, you've paid to go watch the game, sit there and watch it through your own eyes. If you want to watch it on a screen, then you might as well stay at home. Good start though for Arsenal. Exactly what they needed to kick this second half off. And kind of put United in a very difficult position. Long ball from United into Turland, who was brought down by Leah Williamson. United look to move it quickly, but they decide that they're going to turn it into more a set piece. It was a good ball from Janssen direct into Turland, who was brought down by Williamson. Alex says, Mariano must be top 3 signings last summer. What are your top signings? Yeah, I definitely think that Calente is up there. I think Shakira Martinez is one. I know technically shouldn't count, but I'm gonna put her in there. But yeah, I think that Janssen's done well for United. I think she's done very, very well. Ball in from Toon, straight at Zinsberger, well claimed. I think the Brighton signings, Paris, Kirby, they've all been brilliant. But again, they were already proved in the league, so I think that's a bit different for those ones. But yeah, there's plenty of options. Long ball from Arsenal. Russo looks to turn it round Turner, but that will go out for a United throw. Bernie says from the Chelsea-Liverpool game that Beaver Jones His lead striker isn't good enough for like Aish, Colin Prochez, but I don't see her ever being our main striker. I think Beaver Jones did a very, very good job there, but I agree in terms of, especially when you've got the quality of Kerr and Ramirez next season, and you've got Fisher as an option. I do think that, yeah, Beaver Jones will become more of just a rotation player across the front three, really. Sandberg into Clinton. Clinton up against Kelly. Oh, that's not a foul. That is really not a foul. Clinton is rightfully frustrated because that... Clinton's got her hands on Kelly, but Kelly's got her hands on Clinton. Kelly just falls over and Clinton runs away with the ball. I don't know how that's a free kick. But yeah, bizarre. Must think, to be fair, Bernie, Aggie is Chelsea's top goal scorer this season in the league. She's put up some brilliant numbers, so I think she's done very, very well. And it is going to be difficult for Chelsea to manage those minutes next season. McCabe down the left-hand side looking for Russo. Flag does go up though. Well judged that by Millie Turner. West Ham have got a goal back, by the way, against Leicester. That game is now 2-1. As Leicester look to hold on to what will be a big victory. West Ham, who have had a poor start of the season, have really bounced back since January, and they'll be hoping they can turn that game around. Letitia, long free kick, sends the ball up towards Clinton. Header won by McCabe. Carente reverses it over the top. Letitia. Miyazawa loses out, and now Arsenal coming forwards again. The ball's knocked out wide. Marnham will run onto it. Should get there. Does get there. Frida Marnham now. Back to McCabe. Touch. Lays it into Marnham again. What a ball that is. Frida Marnham. 3-1 Arsenal. Brilliant goal. What a ball from McCabe. And Arsenal are comfortably in front now. A brilliant finish from Frida Marnham. And the Gunners are flying and securing second place in style. Brilliant football. Down the left-hand side. Marnham 1-2 with McCabe. What a ball that is from Katie McCabe. And Marnham makes no mistake and slots it past Tullis Joyce. And after two really disappointing results against Villa and Brighton, Arsenal are bouncing back in style. What a ball this is from Katie McCabe. Marnham is just onside as well. Touch, finish, slots it into the bottom corner. Nothing Tullis Joyce can do. Too easy from United. And again, this 2 goals now come because they haven't got the right back. Maya Letitia playing as that right back just isn't natural, but not a natural position. Gets caught out. Marnham gets the wrong side of it. And Marnham makes it 3-1 Arsenal. What a finish this is, by the way. Such a good finish from a tight angle. Finds the bottom corner. And that is probably game, set and match. Yeah, Phil's 5-1 prediction is looking like it's currently on. Really good stuff from Arsenal. Great second half. Speaking of 3-1, Leicester have got a third and they are now 3-1 ahead against West Ham. As quickly as West Ham got back in the game, Leicester put themselves, reinstated that 2-goal advantage. But yeah, Arsenal, what a response. And United just not looked at the races. I think they haven't had a right back. With no Mannion, no Riviere, they've really struggled as to what to do. First half, they tried to play a 3-back, it didn't work. Second half, they tried to put Letitia there and play a 4, hasn't worked either. And Arsenal are taking full effect. Clinton's had a poor game, she's been dispossessed again there. United have not been at the standard, and Arsenal are coming forwards once again. Little charging in, cuts it back, McCabe. Shaving up for a shot, beats Bizet, lets fly, deflected. Will recycle again. Bizet, she's caught the ball in her hand. How is that not handball? Toon clears it, blocked. How is that not handball? I am stunned. I'll describe it in a minute. I'm just absolutely baffled as how that is not handball. Ball bounces, McCabe heads it, and Bizet just plucks it out the air with her hand. How is that not a penalty? And this is the problem that I find. I think again, it's a problem that needs to be discussed in a longer video, in a very analysed area. But the standard of officiating in the WSL has been shocking. It's just that's the problem. Mel Bergen today has not had a good game. Yeah, I think the penalty was extremely harsh that she did give. But then when Ford has, that is one of the most blatant handballs I've ever seen, and she's not given it. Her arm is out here, and the ball hits the arm out there, and she's not given it. How do you not see? I just don't understand. It's the standard of officiating in England across all forms of football is just not the standard. Arsenal going forward again. Ford to make it 4. Heavy touch lets her down. Letitia sits on it, and apparently it's now a United free kick. I have no idea what's happening. But yeah, I think because I think it's important as well. But what I'm saying is, it's the inconsistency in terms. There's no bias. It's just poor for both sides. We see it with way too many refs. Today, I think Mel Bergen has got decisions wrong for both sides. I think she's been poor for both teams. Like, that isn't a foul from Ford. That was a blatant handball from Bizet. But then I don't think the Clinton challenge was a penalty. And I think there's been numerous ones that have been given as fouls that aren't. It's not... It's a problem. And Bernie, I like to say VAR, but yes, VAR will help with the blatant and obvious things like that handball. But the problem is, again, the technology. Yeah, I agree. We need the technology. But who's using the technology? The same referees. The same people that get it wrong on the pitch. And as we've seen in the Premier League, in the men's game, VAR works in all the other leagues. But in England, it doesn't, because it's the people using the technology are the same people who are getting it wrong on the pitch. And that is the problem. But yeah, I just don't get. I don't get it at all. That is it's a difficult one. There was a yellow card, by the way, to someone on the bench for their complaints about the handball, I think. Kelly into Little to make it 4, and she does. It's a brilliant finish. And Arsenal are flying in this game. Great football again down the right-hand side, and Kim Little fires it into the bottom corner. And the Gunners are taking United to the cleaners. Brilliant stuff again. And they are running riot. Kim Little makes a brilliant run from deep. Gets into the penalty area, and this is a brilliant strike. Absolutely thunders it past Tallis Joyce. Brilliant goal. No one tracks the run. She takes a touch on the turn, swivels, and smashes it into the bottom corner. Really good stuff from Kim Little. And Arsenal, Man United, best defensive side in the league this season, are getting torn to shreds by Arsenal. And the 40,000 or so Arsenal fans are absolutely loving life. It's another assist for Chloe Kelly. And it's a brilliant goal from Kim Little. United are getting torn apart. Way too open. All over the place. All over the place, Man United. And again, another poor pass, and Ford is coming towards goal here. Big tackle from Turner. That's not a free kick, though. Referee did get that one right. Here is Toon. Sorry, got me. But wait, Man City, while Arsenal have been firing the goals in, City have done the same, and they've completed the turnaround against Palace. They were 2-1 down at half-time, but now City lead by 3-2. And Crystal Palace, where it looked like they were going to end the season in style with a victory, but they are now losing at the Joey Stadium. Still goalless at Stamford Bridge, by the way. And as Birdie says, Olivia Smith still causing problems for defences. Top player. Real top player. I agree with David. I'm intrigued. If Liverpool can keep Smith and Liverpool can have a good window, they could be a really dangerous side next season. But they could easily lose the likes of Smith and suddenly they've got to replace. Arsenal coming forwards again. I tell you what, Phil's prediction might be on here, because here come Arsenal, ball across, looking for Russo, and it's scuffled back by Miyazawa and very nicely, and Turles Joyce will claim. But United are at 6s and 7s. They are all over the place. I mean, they're not work. They're late. They're jogging back. Their organisation is just not there. Masak Moraes says Chloe Kelly really good today. Yeah, has had a brilliant performance, and has played very, very well. United playing out. They get caught on the ball again. It's Kelly. Kelly to Ford. Ford cuts it back across the goal. Turned away for a corner by Janssen. Arsenal are in cruise control. United can't handle it. Arsenal are all over them. I mean, this is just incredible. What a turnaround from Arsenal in the last week and a half. Have lost 5-2 to Aston Villa, 4-2 to Brighton, and now are currently beating Man United 4-1. Just bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Just over 25 minutes to play at the Emirates. Arsenal still leading by 4-1. Arsenal, this could get really messy for United if they don't shore up quickly. This could get really messy. McCabe corner, ball in, not good enough, near post, and that will be a goal kick. I think the last touch was off Catley there. Oof. I tell you what, as it's hotting up in the studio, it is hotting up on the pitch as well. For Arsenal, that attack is on fire. Again, it's just back to the Arsenal we've seen. We've seen for the majority of 2025, and for United, this is their worst performance of the season. And those things have come together to lead to a brilliant Arsenal performance. Here is Ford. Williamson driving forwards. McCabe to Caldente. Caldente with the shimmy down the line looking for Russo. Russo's the one player who really needs to get on the score sheet. One goal for Russo would be enough to see her take the golden boot. Well, goals are flying in left, right and centre. I told you a moment ago that it was 3-1 West Ham. 3-1 Leicester, sorry. It's now 4-2. Both sides have scored. Since Arsenal last scored. Bernie Smith going off injured. That is a shame, and I think Smith is a player who has had a few injury worries, and that will be a concern for clubs who are looking to buy her, but also for Liverpool. But I mean, obviously, she won't play in the Euros, which I think is big for Liverpool. Because she's Canadian. Hang on, because Bizet swings the ball in. Falls to Galton. Can United do something with this? But yeah, she is injured, but she'll have a good couple months off to recover and to spend with Liverpool. Building up towards the next season. Janssen turning left and right. Uses Galton. Galton taken out by Chloe Kelly, and that will be a United free kick. Alex says, Harry, what are the reasons Skinner bottled today? Just the 1-2 players in defence missing? Yeah, I think so. In the first, the problem is that they're missing Riviere and George, and it is massively hurting them. And what it means, a couple things. It means that they try to play differently. They tried to play a 3-back in the first half, and they've tried to use Letitia at right back in the second half, and neither of those have worked. But the other problem is because of those defensive issues, it means they've had to put Janssen at the back. I think if Janssen could have played midfield today, United had more control, and they would have had a better chance of being a little bit more secure and probably having a little bit more of the ball. Toon free kick then. Can United get one goal back at least? Toon swings it in. It's not a bad delivery. It's somehow over everyone. Ball towards the back post. No one was there. Was the problem. And it goes out. Yeah. And frustration kicking in now for United. Because they have not been at the races today. But just over 20 minutes away are Arsenal from confirming second place. It would see them finish runners-up in the WSL for the first time since the 21-22 season, so 3 years ago. But they look well on their way now, and they're looking to add more to their tally. Here is Russo. Russo versus Turner. Shot blocked. Falls to Little, who tries to find Marnham, but that is cut out by Janssen. But yeah, as Bernie says, mentioning Chelsea's blanks in front of goal, looking towards the FA Cup final next Sunday, Chelsea are currently drawing 0-0 Liverpool, and United have been turned over here by Arsenal. So, again, I have no idea how that's going to play out at Wembley at this rate. I mean, it goes without saying, if United turn up and play like this against Chelsea at Wembley, that will be a massacre. So, we're going to need to see a better performance from United next week. And again, when you're looking towards cup finals, you want to build momentum. And United, if they don't win today, they'd have been winless in their last 4. And that's slightly concerning. Long ball towards Mallard. Catley gets there first, and we'll go back to Zinsberger. Here is McCabe. Poor pass from McCabe, pounced on by Turland. Turland will have a go. It's deflected. It's over Zinsberger and it's into the back of the net. And United do have one back. Really poor error that from Katie McCabe. Gives the ball to Turland, who has a shot on goal. It takes a deflection and it's enough to loop over Zinsberger. And well, United have a second. And with 20 minutes to play, it's going to take a lot. But can they find something? Again, the deflection just completely catches out Zinsberger. It's messy from Arsenal. But United have a goal back. But yeah, that's a really poor pass from McCann. I have no idea what she's doing. And Turland adding another one to her tally this season. And well, can Manchester United potentially pull off one hell of a comeback here with 20 minutes to play? They got to believe, but you never know. Yeah, someone says silly McCabe. That's the problem. There's a lot of people will just go, oh, that's all right. Because McCabe does that and we're in a great position. But it's the games when McCabe does that and Arsenal aren't in a great position that catches them out. Double change then for the Gunners. Chloe Kelly and Frida Marnham are going to be coming off. And they are going to be replaced by Beth Mead and... Beth Mead and Leia Vouty. So just shoring up a little bit. Another brilliant performance from both Kelly and Marnham. Both players getting on the score sheet. Really good stuff. Really good performances for them to end the season. But yeah, bizarre one from McCabe. And it just puts Arsenal in... gives something Arsenal a little to think about. Here's Catley. Williamson. Back to Steph Catley. Clinton. Now soon, by the way, has come on for United as well. She replaces Ella Toon. Janssen. Tallis Joyce. Goughton looking to go down the line. Can't quite get there though, and that will be an Arsenal throw. Yeah, frustration for that United bench. They would have liked to finish second. They've got some... They're competing in the World Sevens. They want to be resting up for that. But, instead, they've got to try and make a good go of this game now. Here come Arsenal. Mead with the ball in. Cleared by Turner. Kelly. Clinton. Looking to find Niall Soond. Poor pass. Ball's bouncing around, but it eventually finds its way to Tallis Joyce. Bernie says, are you Team Arsenal or Barca for the final? I am neither. I hope both teams lose. Yeah, I don't have a horse in that race. I just want to see a good game of football, to be honest. Not a fan of either side. Just want to see a really competitive game. a really good. We want to see finals. We want to see controversy. We want to see a end-to-end football match, and just go away with penalties. But yeah, don't have a horse in that race. Really, really, yeah. I don't want either side to win the Champions League, to be honest. But obviously, one of them has to. It's part of football. Bizet loses it too little. Vouty. Little under pressure from Clinton. Turns out of it well, to be fair, and then is pulled back by Turland, and that will be a United free kick. Caldente loses the ball to Bizet. Mallard. Here is now soon. Back to Melvin Mallard. Bizet swings it in. Not a bad ball. Not dealt with at the back post. Here's Mead. Janssen heads it back in there. Galton. Turland. Turland has a shot. It's blocked. Here's Bizet. Is that a penalty? Yes, it is. Now Man United have a penalty. It's clumsy from McCabe. No complaints from any Arsenal players. Bizet cuts inside. McCabe brings her down. And now Man United have an opportunity to get right back into this football game. Deflected shot. Bizet's first touch brings her inside. And McCabe just takes her out. Well, trips her out. Takes her out a bit hard. Just trips her up. Really smart from Bizet. And Man United have a penalty. Yeah, frustration from Slager's furious. And Arsenal, no complaints. Because that is a really clumsy thing to do. Really clumsy. Well, Letitia, as Aston Villa make it 3-0. United look to get their third of the afternoon and half the deficit back to 1. But yeah, that's a really clumsy thing to do. And McCabe, who passed it to Turland for United's second goal, has now given away a penalty where Letitia could make it 4-3. Maya Letitia versus Zinsberger to close the gap to 1. Letitia, good penalty. And United are right back in this game. Arsenal were cruising at 4-1 and 2 errors from Katie McCabe has put Manchester United right back in this match. Really silly from Katie McCabe. And again, people wonder why we criticise her. People wonder why there's a lot of fans out there who don't judge her. Sorry, who don't rate her and do judge her quite heavily. But this is why. Because when your side are 4-1 up, suddenly she makes 2 mistakes. And United are right back in this game. And that is the problem when you and this is the thing, when I look at areas for Arsenal to improve, left back's the main one for me. I think out wide potentially that they need to reinforce. And United are coming forwards again. Mallard offside. She puts it in the net anyway, but the flag does go up. Think it was the right decision. But Arsenal making life difficult for themselves again. Arsenal should be cruising in this game. Should be absolutely cruising. But instead, they're now having to fight it out to try and hold on to the win here. All because of a certain left back. I don't want to dig into her, but it's not even like they were mistakes that indirectly led to goals. They are 2 errors that are completely at fault for the goal. And yeah, Masek Moral makes a good point that even if United do level it, Arsenal will still finish second. But if United level in the next couple of minutes, then why can't they go and get another goal? But an absolute classic though. Final day, bonanza. 7 goals at the Emirates so far, and this game has still got life in it. Here's Ford. Ford to Caldente. Caldente to Catley. Williamson. Was McKay brought down there? Yes, she was. Miyazawa just caught her. But yeah, Alex made a good point. Arsenal would still finish second, but the goals don't boost confidence. Yeah, I agree. Barcelona now look at it and they see an Arsenal side who have conceded 12 goals. Is it 12 goals? Yeah, 12 goals in 3 games. They'll be laughing. Barcelona will be absolutely laughing. Because again, McCabe will start the Champions League final. And I think that could be a massive problem for Arsenal. Because Barca will just take the mick. Especially if McCabe makes errors like she has here. I think that Arsenal they've hit. Obviously, I don't want to overreact because Champions League finals are very, very different. They're completely different games, completely different atmospheres. Anything can happen, but not a good run of form at all to be going. Even if they win this game, to concede, it is the final day. Weird things happen on the final day, but they've got to be careful, Arsenal. Again, I think the pivot is a massive problem that Slager seems to just keep ignoring. As Clinton skips past one, goes out wider to Galton, has put way too much on it. Galton will keep it on though. Good stuff from the United winger. Galton versus Fox. Goes back to Janssen. Janssen puts it in. Ball in, headed away by Williamson. Russo up against Turner. Turner will just put that out. Ten to play at the Emirates. Man United need to win if they want to finish second place. They do need 2 goals, but the comeback, they're halfway there. People talking about bringing Neiswanger in. Yeah, I think that. Obviously, again, I wouldn't do it for Champions League final. That's too much of a risk. But I think if you're looking towards next season, potentially so. I mean, Neiswanger's barely been given a chance. Again, another problem with Slagers is just not rotating at all. And I think that has hurt Arsenal. Janssen cuts inside and then just leathers it at Vouty. What a random thing to do. Ford looking to find Russo. Russo is definitely offside. United will play on though. Some are asking why is Katie McCabe so high. Why do have you met Katie McCabe before? And again, they play the 1-2 around her and she's caught out. Luckily, Vouty manages to bail her out, but Bizet keeps going. And that will be a United free kick. And a yellow card is shown in the direction of Leia Vouty for pulling down Bizet. But yeah. And that's probably... And yes, you mentioned there as well. I think it is a problem with McCabe's. Is that trying to overstep for errors. Man City have got a 4th, by the way. They lead Crystal Palace by 4 goals to 2. Arsenal have got a free kick to defend then. A United goal now makes things very interesting. Ball swung in by Letitia. Headed on and cleared by Arsenal. McCabe gets it away. Good clearance. Finds the United bench. Letitia will look to get this game moving again. Needs options though. No one's providing any so far. Letitia. Mallard flicks it onto Turland, who spins Williamson, tries to poke it. The Galton doesn't find her. Clinton lets fly, deflected, and it will run through to Manuela Zinsberger, who will take her time to release this ball. 120 votes in the poll and chat. Still 66% of Arsenal, 66% of people thinking that Arsenal will hold on and take that second place spot in the WSL this season. And yeah, they look to be in a good position to do it now. But United fans making a lot of noise and trying to will their team on to pull off what would be an incredible turnaround. Now soon. Janssen dispossessed by Caldente. Caldente posted into space and here comes Ford. Ford cuts it back to Mead, blocked by Turner. And out and then comes off Mead again for a goal kick. Ford does well down the right hand side here, cuts it back to Mead as a shot blocked, and the blocked attempt just falls back into her. The attendance 46,603. I did say that, so I'm going to take that. Well done, me. Alex says, any rooms up next City manager? It's an interesting one. No. I think because Alexander Strauss was rumoured, wasn't he? But then I think he's taking a different job, I believe. Correct if I'm wrong. PSG have just sat their manager, so there's options around. The manager market is starting to become a little bit active, which will help City. Arsenal coming forwards once again to seal the deal. Ford beats Miyazawa, cuts it, looks to cut it back, dummies it. Caldente hooks it in there. Russo heads wide. Did take a touch though and goes out for a corner. Russo still pushing for that goal to win the Golden Boot. Took a touch there off Turner, I think. Nope. Don't know how that's a corner. But alas, Arsenal will not care. The goal now would see Arsenal surely take the victory. Again, the Gunners only need a point to take second place. United need 2 goals. But what a football match either way. 4-3 to end the season. Absolute cracker. Mead puts it in there. Flicked on the front post. Bouncing around. Can anyone get a shot away? Not quite. And Turland will get it clear. Alex says Strauss going to Angel City. That's the one, yeah. So yeah, it's difficult for City. I think that I don't think Kishing will take it permanently. You don't realistically. PSG have just sat their manager, but you don't. You don't want to go get a manager who's failed at a club that are smaller than you. It's just not going to work out. Dan said I switched off at 4-1. I just googled for some reason, saw the score. What the hell? Yeah, United have come back into the game. A Turlen goal and a Letitia penalty has pulled them right back into it. Someone says, what do you think of the groups for the World Sevens? I don't know what to think of that World Sevens tournament, to be completely honest. I think it's the prize money is the biggest aspect of it, really. I mean, how you're getting a load of professional footballers to play 7-a-side football is just beyond me. I think that's one of the most insulting things ever. But fair enough. Players aren't playing it, so let them do what they want to do. Caldente, foul there by Turland on Williamson. He wants a yellow card for Turland, but Turland that's not going to get a yellow card for that. Just pressing aggressively and knocked into her as the ball went. Would have been a shot. At this point of the game, asking for yellow cards is a bit cheap for Arsenal. Here is Williamson. Understandably taking her time about this. Williamson. Zinsberger. Fires it long. Looking to find Russo. Instead, she picks out Dominic Janssen for United. Miyazawa into Turner. Talis Joyce. Turner inside. Nalsoon just clears it out into the air. Don't know why she's done that. Vauti. Caldente. Mead. Back to Vauti. Little. Catley. Tries to go up the line. Bizet. Put out for a throw by McCabe. Changes coming then for Arsenal. This is going to see Stina Blackstenius and Lotta Wubben-Moy come onto the pitch. And that'll be Blackstenius is coming on for Caldente. And I'd guess Wubben-Moy for Williamson would be my prediction. Wait and see. United also making changes on their side of things. Looks to be Simia Wujo and someone else coming on. Yeah, good performance from Karen Tate. Another goal for her, another couple of contributions. Really good performance. And well, Chelsea ending the season in style. 91st minute winner from Aggie Beever-Jones against Liverpool. And that looks to confirm Chelsea as invincibles this season. And as Bernie as well updating us, Beever-Jones in additional time against Liverpool once again. But yeah, really, really incredible season from Chelsea. And that will see them be crowned champion. Well, they're already crowned champions, but to go invincible in Bonpastor's first season in charge is extremely strong, and it's going to take some beating. And while it hasn't been a classic Chelsea performance today, they have confirmed the crown with class with the invincible season. If you are tuning in, we will be staying on at the end to watch the Chelsea trophy lift. So yeah, make sure to stick around for that. Man City, by the way, have got a 5th against Crystal Palace. They now lead in that game by 5-2. Now soon, Clinton puts it in there towards Galton, who heads it up. Can't quite get it towards a teammate though. Flag is up anyway. We're into the 90. We're going to play another 7 minutes. 7 minutes of added time. Just in case there is any jeopardy to this scoreline for Arsenal. But 7 minutes is a lot. Chloe Kelly's been given player of the match, understandably so. Another brilliant performance from Kelly. Masak asked, will they get a golden trophy? I'm not too sure, to be honest. I can't think back to the last time Chelsea were invincibles. Or when Arsenal went and done it, whether they got a gold trophy or not. We'll find out, though. But yeah, another goal for Beever-Jones this season. What a campaign she's enjoyed. But yeah, we will watch Chelsea lift that trophy. And well, I will stay on to watch Chelsea lift that trophy. Whether it's gold or whether it's not. But yeah, Bernie made a great point. I agree. The difference is Chelsea do get when they grind out results. It's what they've done all season. You know, they nearly lost to Leicester and they got a draw out of it. They've beaten sides they've won games they probably shouldn't have won. Everton at home's another one. There's been when Lauren James scored late on in the FA Cup against Crystal Palace, it was another difficult one. The reason Chelsea win titles is because even when they're not at their best, they get the results. And that is something that no side in the WSL is doing at the moment. Yeah, Arsenal then seeing out these final 5 minutes at the Emirates. Champions League final and runners-up for Arsenal is not a bad campaign at all. Yes, they'd like to do better in the domestic cups, but it's been a brilliant season. Obviously, it depends a lot on whether they win the Champions League. Here comes Turlin, by the way. Ball in, claimed by Zinsberger. But yeah, it really depends because but Champions League final and runners up is a big difference between if they're Champions League winners. If Arsenal win the Champions League, then it's an incredible season. If they lose it, then it is still a good season, but it would be a trophyless season. So it's a really difficult one to judge for Arsenal. I think overall they've had a good campaign. But yeah, I think if you told Arsenal fans at the start of the season you'll finish runners up and be in the Champions League final, they'd have taken that. Especially if they go on to win, as I say, if they go on to win that Champions League, then that would be just incredible for Arsenal. United still huffing and puffing. They'll be frustrated to not finish second. But still, back in the Champions League, got the FA Cup final next Sunday. There's still a lot to play for United and a lot to be looking forward to next season. Letitia throws it long. United looking for a late equaliser. They would need a winner if they want to get second place. But, a draw would be a hell of a result from 4-1 down. 4 minutes to play. Yeah. Travelling United fans disappointed, but I think that their side have made a good go of it. From 4-1 down, get back to 4-3. If they can find a goal in the next 3.5 minutes, then they'll pull it back for a draw. That would not be too bad at all. But yeah, still in full voice the away end. But the 40,000 Gunners in the crowd have made the difference. It's what the Emirates does. The Emirates does help Arsenal get these results over the line. It does help them play good football. And that will be a yellow card for Beth Mead for delaying the restart. Not that it should mean much now. Mead goes long. Looking for Black Stenius. We'll find Laetitia instead, who goes long. Again, she can only find an Arsenal shirt. Catley up the line. Laetitia goes back up forwards. Mallard holds on to it. Vouty in behind. Black Stenius trying to get onto it. Flag is up though against Stina Black Stenius. Bernie says record points tally, unbeaten in the league. Job done. Congrats, Chelsea. Yeah, a phenomenal season for Chelsea. One of the best teams that we've seen grace the WSL. Absolutely incredible. And they'll be frustrated they didn't do better in Europe, but if they come away this season with domestic treble next Sunday, then that is one hell of a season. Here is Russo. 1.5 minutes to play. Jack on the stream says, what on earth happened here? Well, Arsenal ran riot and took a 4-1 lead, and then Katie McCabe decided to make the game interesting by passing the ball to Turland for a 1 goal and then giving away a penalty for another goal, and then United got back into it, and it's kind of remained at 4-3 since then. Yeah, full time's coming through now. Chelsea confirmed as invincibles. Everton drawing with Tottenham on the final day. Also, Leicester winning means that Tottenham dropped to 11th. 11th for Tottenham. Terrible season. Vouty wins the header. Russo. Ford. Janssen wins the header. Is there a foul in there? No, here comes Russo. Looks to find Black Stenius. Guess what? She's offside again. Stina Black Stenius just cannot time that run. Flags up once again. Yep, definitely offside. Just cannot time the run. Oh my days. Kadina's back, everybody. Wow. I thought I should just become a bench player that just films stuff for social media. Kadina is back. Maybe they might find Kafaji as well. If they found Kadina, we might work out where Rosa Kafaji's gone. Kadina coming on just to defend a set piece. That is one of those pointless subs I think I've seen in football. Long ball from Talis Joyce. Galton. Laetitia flicks it on. Mead will smash it out for a throw. Laetitia into Turland, flicks it on. Janssen will have a go from range. That is well over the bar, and that will surely be that. And that is the final whistle. Arsenal do hold on and do take the win by 4-3 and confirm themselves as runners-up for this season in the WSL. A strong second half of the campaign turned what was a poor start around, and the Gunners will be very happy to finish in second place. They beat United to it. A Man United side who were held on to that second place for the majority of the season. But towards the end, they have been leapfrogged by Arsenal, and the Gunners will finish runners-up, United still back in the Champions League, but will be frustrated to not take second spot and to be beaten in the fashion they were. They were torn apart until Katie McCabe made this game interesting. So, yeah, a lot of work to do for United. Winless in their last 4 is not what they want going into the FA Cup final next Sunday. Don't go anywhere, by the way. I am staying on. We'll continue talking about this season and stay on to watch Chelsea's trophy lift. But Arsenal confirmed runners-up. Man United will take third place, will take Champions League football, but will be disappointed with the performance. A absolute cracker to end what has been a brilliant season in the WSL. Arsenal 4, Manchester United 3 at the Emirates. And just to run through the other final scores of the season, we saw some absolutely brilliant games. Goals were flying in left, right and centre. As I said, Arsenal beating United by 4-3. Villa beating Brighton by 3-1. A brilliant performance for Aston Villa. Maz Pacheco scoring in her last game in claret and blue. Chelsea go invincible, and it's Beaver Jones again in additional time to beat Liverpool. A really well fought match that by both sides. Everton and Tottenham end their season with a point each as they drew 1-1. Leicester City ending with a classic against West Ham. 4-2, the Foxes win, and that seems to climb the table. Disappointing end of the season for West Ham. And well, in a crazy match at the Joey Stadium, Man City 5, Crystal Palace 2. But that saw Crystal Palace went 1-0 up and then went 2-1 up, and City managed to turn it around. But what a crazy match week. What a brilliant way to end the WSL season. But yes, we are going to switch over now to watch Chelsea be crowned champions and watch Chelsea lift their WSL title for the 6th time in a row. Again, people asking whether the trophy's going to be gold. I have no idea. I'm in the same position as you guys are. It might be gold, it might be silver. I have no idea. So let's just wait and find out. But yeah, just got to find the game now. But yeah, a brilliant performance from Arsenal. I think 4-3 doesn't tell the whole story. But yeah, I think that they would have liked to win it in more comfortable fashion. But overall, did a good job to see the result through and to take the victory. But yeah, just a season that I think that really had a lot of potential. But yeah, I think that we would have wanted to see a better fight at both the top and the bottom, but you know, it was close at certain points, and people pointing out that it won't be a gold trophy. I am thoroughly disappointed, and my day is ruined. As Bernie says, Arsenal made their own gold trophy. Chelsea might do the same. That would be pretty cool if they did, but it does mean they won't be lifting a gold trophy. But yeah, a really good season. I think that, as I said, it promised a lot more. I think that Crystal Palace, when they came up, had a lot of potential to put up a good fight. And with Chelsea changing manager, I think a lot of people went into the season thinking that, is this the year that someone topples Chelsea? And, well, Chelsea have just gone and responded and said, let's go invincible. And that kind of took any chance of having a competitive season away. And I think that, you know, overall people will, I think especially Arsenal and United fans would have hoped to see a better fight. But yeah, nice little graphic there for Chelsea as we watch this trophy lift over. But yeah, credit to Arsenal, because I think that they did, to finish second, the recovery they had was really strong, and they've done well to come home and finish second, because at one point it looked like United were going to take that second place comfortably. Does mean that Man City only finished a point behind United. But yeah, Man United going winless in their last 4. Really poor form to end the season. And with the FA Cup final next Sunday, United have got to watch out. They've really, really got to watch out. But yeah, I think that, again, for Arsenal and United, both their seasons are going to be defined by their cup finals, because if United lose the FA Cup final, then suddenly it's a trophyless campaign and they only finish third. And again, similar boat for Arsenal. Yes, it's the Champions League final, but if they don't win a trophy, then it would be a downgrade on last season, because obviously they did go and win the League Cup, but then this season they finished second. So it's really hard to judge both their seasons. We will have videos. We'll have videos out, breaking it down all properly and looking into it deeper. But overall, it's really difficult. Someone says, "Where are you watching the trophy lift?" I believe it's on Sky. I believe, because that's where the Chelsea game was. We could have watched the Chelsea game today, but Arsenal Man United was a better game and had more on the line. So as much as I wanted to watch Chelsea, I thought it was better to watch the more competitive game, and the game that meant more for the league standing. Yeah, Burning says, at least the graphic is gold, thanks. That's all right, yeah. Put a bit of gold on there. And celebrate a 6th title in a row. Will next year be the year that someone can beat Chelsea? But yeah, I think a good performance from Chelsea today. Liverpool put up a good fight. But similar to the FA Cup game, Chelsea just coming out on top in the last few moments. And I think that to end the season with a win, to go invincible with a victory on the final day, it's a win, it's a clean sheet against a good opposition. It's exactly how Chelsea would have planned it, really. That the crowd at Stamford Bridge will be very much looking forward to watching their side lift the title this afternoon. But yeah, I can't quite believe that the season is over. It feels like it's flown by so quickly. This was our first full season on the channel. So it was a big season for us, and I mean the growth has been absolutely incredible, and hopefully it just continues going. And again, if you haven't subscribed already, then please do. It would mean a lot. But yeah, just got to keep going. But it was a big season. I feel like I've learned a lot about the women's game over the last campaign, as we came into it having only watched not watched any of it as consistently as we should have. But this season, we've watched every single, haven't missed a game week of the WSL. We've streamed an incredible number of matches, consumed an incredible number of WSL content, and it's been really good to watch. And appreciate the people. Obviously great to see all the new people coming in, but Summer, Phil, Bernie, who have been here for the majority of the campaign. It's been great to have your support, and hopefully we can push on next season, push on through the Euros, and have an even bigger and better year, both in women's football and as a channel. And it is difficult. It's difficult sometimes, because when as Chelsea are champions, are cruising to the title, me and Jack both being Chelsea fans, the content does get very every season's brilliant for us. Wonder I don't know how it would turn out if Chelsea weren't winning the WSL title, but maybe that will happen next year. Who knows? But yeah, I think that it's been a really, really good year, and it's been really enjoyable. And hopefully we've got big things planned for the rest of this year and going into next season. But yeah, so keep joining the journey. Phil said, really thanks for a great season of content, lads. Really enjoyed it. Much appreciated, Phil. Bernie says, you guys were great this season. Thanks, Harry and Jack, for all the content. It's always nice to see young male fans appreciating and supporting women's football. Yeah, massively appreciated, guys. It has been a brilliant season, and again, the content wouldn't be as good as if we didn't have people watching it. So it's really good to have a consistent community that we can provide content for, and new people joining in as well. And someone says, it's my pleasure, Harry. 100% will be here. 1,000% will be here through the summer. Great, brilliant to hear. As I say, big summer for the channel, for England, as with the Euros coming in, with the Champions League final still to come. We've got the fun new World Sevens tournament that everyone's excited for. But yeah, Chelsea in numbers then. 19 wins, 3 draws, no defeats. Record. First team to go unbeaten in a 22-game season. New points record for a 22-game season, and a new points record overall. And the champions will now be crowned, as they now all get to be given their medals by the WSL representatives. A big season for Chelsea, Cuthbert, James, Brighton all going through there. Lawrence, who played a bit part role, but an important role in all competitions. Shaka Nuskin, who for the first 3 quarters of the season was pretty big. Hasn't seen too much game time since Kira Walsh came in. Hannah Hampton, Chelsea's number 1. Probably confirmed now as England's number 1, as Cosmopolitan Clerk brings up. Ramirez, not been her best season, Ramirez, but has still done very well. Baltimore, one of the signings of the season. On Pomey, another one who has come in and has done a good job. Definitely one for the future and could develop into a top player. Same with Oriane Jean-Francois. Lucy Bronze coming in to try and help Chelsea win the Champions League, but she won't complain at a league title. Katie Cox didn't get any minutes this season, but could be Chelsea's backup goalkeeper next campaign with Sakira Musovic leaving. Kana Reid, red hot at the start of the season. Fell away a bit at the start though. Good to see the likes of Fischel as well, who are fit and able to play at the moment. And good to see those Chelsea champions gathering together on the podium. Captain, one of the stars of the season, I think. Brilliant breakout talent under Sonia Bonpastor. Beaver Jones has been superb this season for Chelsea. Some of the trophy lists on Sky. It's not happened yet. Right, I'll see you, Phil. Thank you for tuning in. Phil doesn't want to see Chelsea lift the trophy. Fair enough. Burning a shout out to Leicester, West Ham, and Leicester have taken some points of us. You made the league competitive for a bit. Yeah, fair enough. I like it. But yeah, it could have been. I feel like there were times this season where it could have been a lot more dicey for Chelsea. And last to claim her medal, Sonia Bonpastor in her first season in blue, delivering an invincible season and potentially delivering a domestic treble. And Millie Bright as well, captain, leader, legend, to put her in the same bracket as John Terry. Another title that Chelsea get their hands on, another title that Millie Bright will be able to lift above her teammates. Chelsea soaking in the atmosphere. But Chelsea, champions of the WSL 6 times in a row. 24-25 belongs to Chelsea once again. London and the WSL is blue. Another brilliant season. They were crowned champions at Old Trafford last season. But this campaign, on home turf, at Stamford Bridge, in front of their home fans, the job is done now. The title is secured. They have their hands on the trophy once again, and they can soak it in. FA Cup final to come, but for now, the league duties are done. They have done it. They're champions again. Brilliant season from Chelsea. Trophy being shared round. Exactly what you want to see. Because it wasn't just 11 players that won this title. It was a whole squad that delivered another brilliant season. 2 trophies down. 1 more pending, potentially. But Chelsea, they will take their time about this. I mean, there's Chelsea fans leaving. That is shocking. Your side are lifting. Your side are lifting the trophy. How can you leave the ground? But it's good to see. It's nice to see Chelsea, be at Stamford Bridge to lift the title. As I said, last year it was at Old Trafford on away turf. Last couple of years it's been at a bit at Kings Meadow and the likes. But it's good to see Chelsea get to lift the title in front of 20,000 at Stamford Bridge. Really soaking in the atmosphere. But what a season for everyone involved at Chelsea Football Club. And they confirm themselves as WSL champions once again. But that is it. That is it for another season. 24-25, over and out. Last match week, done and dusted. Now this is Sophie Ingle getting a medal and getting an opportunity to lift the title. Obviously confirmed that she will leave Chelsea at the end of the campaign. A Chelsea legend is Sophie Ingle, but her time is ran as a blue, and she will move on to pastures new at the end of the campaign. Musovic now also getting a go with the trophy. She's another one who will be leaving in the summer. but a massive moment for Chelsea. They've done it again. They've defended their title again. Incredible scenes. But yeah, Bernie, winning breeds winning. And as you say, Chelsea will just want to keep building on this. We'll just want to keep going and going. Getting better and better. Improving season on season and to keep holding on to title after title. Masek Moras, just wondering, if a team's final game is not at home, do they still have to lift the trophy away turf? No. So what they'd do is, if they'd wrapped it up, they'd do it their last home game, I believe. The only reason they'd lift it away from home is if it goes down to, like last year, because it went down to the final day of the season. Chelsea did it at Old Trafford, but if Chelsea had won it already, they'd have just done it on their last home game. But yeah, big season for Chelsea. But that is the Women's Super League done and dusted for 24-25. That is where I'm going to leave it. Thank you all so much for tuning in today and across the season. It's been a brilliant year, brilliant campaign. Congratulations to Chelsea, commiserations to Crystal Palace. We will welcome London City Lionesses to the WSL next season. And we've still got an FA Cup final and a Champions League final coming up domestically before we get into the European Championships. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Do make sure to look out for our match week review on Monday, where we will be talking all things match week 22, discussing all 6 games and analysing them properly. But as for now, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.